Joe Rogan Podcast. Check it out.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Train by day, Joe Rogan Podcast by night, all day. Yeah, man, baby.
Hello.
Let's fucking go.
Have we started? Are we going?
We're starting. Oh, no.
Not over the relics.
The dirtier this table is, the better.
Get it away from the... What is that?
The relics. That is, that's from my friend John Reeves. He gave that to me. That's a mastodon tooth. Or woolly mammoth, or what's the difference? What is the difference between woolly mammoth and a mastodon? They must be a different age, a different era. But that's a giant tooth. That there's a company in Alaska, I forget the name, but they it kind of seems fucked to carve into this thing because it is 10,000 years old at least.
How many of them are there though? Do they have heaps of them?
They have heaps of them.
Oh, well, that's...
But this is really cool. It's like they carved a mammoth in it. So what is the difference? According to our sponsor, Perplexity, a woolly mammoth and a mastodon were related but quite different Ice Age elephants. Mammoths were taller, more slightly built grass eaters, while mastodons were shorter, stockier browsers that ate woody plants. Okay.
I was going to say the hair maybe, but I don't. It's obviously more.
Woolly mammoth, right? Yeah, mastodon looks like an elephant.
Yeah, the mastodon horn does look cooler.
They're pretty cool. They're all pretty cool. You know, they lived on an... Was it... Well, where were the last mastodons? I want to say they lived on an island until like 10,000 years ago or something like that. Because most of them died out. They don't know how they died out, but there's two theories. One theory is people killed them all, which is a shaky theory. Because it's people of 10,000 years ago with fucking sticks.
Were they around 10,000 years ago?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they died.
We definitely did that then.
I don't think so. I think it was a cataclysm. I think it was the same thing that killed 65% of all megafauna. That's the problem. It killed so many different animals like almost instantaneously.
Yeah,
that's it.
4,000 years
4,000 years ago, Wrangel Island, remote Arctic island off Siberia's coast, had the last woolly mammoths till about 4,000 years ago. Isn't that nuts?
That's nothing.
That's nuts. Yeah, that's like before the pyramids were built. No, I mean after the pyramids were built, rather.
Similar time. Yeah, after.
Yeah, after the pyramids. Allegedly. I think they were probably built earlier than that. But the official date is 2,500
I've seen that
BC.
strange man with the beard and the...
Which one?
That man you had on to debate it, who's always clapping back on Twitter and going like, there's nothing funny about the...
Oh, Flint Dibble?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to
Poor
invoke
fella.
his ire. I don't want him.
He's got a lot of ire.
He's got a lot of time and a lot
I
of
actually
hate.
enjoyed talking to him about non-ancient history related stuff. He has some interesting things about seeds. Like he does a lot of work in seeds.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it's actually really interesting how...
Like the history of seeds?
Yeah, so say if you have a wild plant, they can tell the difference between a wild plant and an agriculturally grown plant.
Yeah.
And the way is the seeds change. So when you have a wild seed, it is more conducive to the growth of the plant if the seeds break off easier and scatter and they get into the ground easier. So they break free of the plant. But then when you use agriculture, the seeds don't become important for the creation of new plants because you're always taking the seeds anyway and planting the seeds, right? So those seeds are more robust and they hang on more.
Yeah.
So you could tell by looking at the actual seeds themselves whether it's an agriculturally based seed or whether it's a wild seed.
That is good. I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah, it was really cool. That part was cool. The shittiness is not cool, and calling Graham Hancock a racist. They do that with like everyone who has anything to say about the historical narrative that doesn't fit into exactly what they're teaching or what they have been teaching. They're like so unwilling to accept that there's any alternative timeline, but they keep getting fucked. Because over and over again, they keep finding these new things that are older and older.
Yeah.
Like
but this
Göbekli
happens
Tepe was the big one. It happens in every discipline.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it happens in comedy. There's people that don't like new comedians that are coming up. They don't like what they're doing differently.
You said a thing last night about prop comedy.
Yeah.
You're like, everyone just stopped doing prop comedy at a certain point.
Well, it's because of Carrot Top.
It's because of Carrot Top and also because the bullying you would receive.
Right.
At the moment for having props. There's Rick Glassman. Am I getting his name right? I don't know. But he had some props, and he was really funny, and he got away with it. But he's the only person in America, other than Carrot Top, I've seen with any props.
Well, when I started out, there was a bunch of guys who had props. There was a bunch of guys who had props, and it was fun. It was fun to watch. There was Dr. Wid. I forget his name. Dr. Wiz. I forget his name. But he was a guy when I first started out in like the 1980s. He had props, and he was good. He was a funny comic.
It'll be cyclical. It'll come back. Like ladies with ukuleles had to go away for a time. It was necessary that we purge ukulele women from comedy.
How many were there?
Oh my God, I don't know. There was. Is this him?
The legendary Wid.
That's it. Legendary Wid. Yeah, that's the dude. And he would do like science-based humor. He was a funny guy. So this is, I saw him in like 88, 89. But the point was that guy was really funny when he started busting out the props.
Yeah.
And we were like, I was like, why don't you just do props?
This is your thing.
Yeah. Like that kind of humor, his kind of humor, it's almost like it's missing something in just the straight stand-up for him.
But there's waves of things become trendy, and then people who can't really do it very well jump onto it, and then it gets lame, and people stop doing it.
Well, a lot of it is one guy gets really successful doing it, and
Yeah.
then that becomes his thing.
We had a run of people pretending to be retarded in Australia. It was like
How
5
hard did
years.
they try?
Really hard.
Were they on the border and just slowed it down a little?
Weird sweaters, people having like fireworks that they would fire into themselves, and everyone would like come out with cards and read their act.
That's what happens when you take away everyone's guns.
They're trying to take them away again. They already took them all away,
Yeah.
and then somehow we still had a massive shooting, and now the response is, well, maybe we could take even more of them away.
What was the nationality of the people that caused the shooting?
The son, I think, was born in Australia, and the dad. There was a big fight over it on Twitter where people were going, "He's Pakistani."
Right.
And the
I
people were
remember that, but I don't
not quite
anymore.
Pakistani.
I don't
No.
anymore. I don't get in there.
The big argument was over the religion of the hero who took one of the guns away. So, like, the cops were apparently cowering.
Right.
That's the narrative. I don't know. But
Right.
one guy ran up, and it's a great video of a guy like he runs at a guy with a gun and wrestles the gun off him and aims the gun at him and he does let the guy get away. He doesn't want to kill him.
Which
But
is
then
kind of crazy. The guy just killed how many people?
Oh, and then I think the guy gets a gun and goes on killing people. But
No.
but he's not a killer. This guy who wrestled the gun off him, he was just
beat
a
him
heroic
in the
man.
head with the butt, like in the movies.
I don't know what I mean. I
hit
wouldn't
him
have
and
ever.
then they
I
go to
wouldn't have ever
sleep.
run up to a man with a gun. I would have been out of there. But the argument was what religion was the guy who took the gun, because people on the right really didn't want him to be a Muslim. They were like, it was a huge thing on X of people.
People on the right didn't want him to be
because
a
it was
Muslim?
Muslim shooters. But then it looked like he was. His name was like Ahmed Al-Ahmed or something.
But hold on, why would the people on the right not want him to be a Muslim?
Because then you can go, this is a Muslim thing. Muslims were doing the shooting, and we can just go, let's deal with the Muslims.
Oh, you mean the guy who captured the guy?
The guy who wrestled the gun off him was
Right.
also a Muslim, which then makes it like,
Oh, so
the
was he?
heroic guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, his name is like Muhammadson.
Imagine being a regular Muslim and having to deal with these crazy
That'd be
motherfuckers.
nightmarish. There he is.
That guy.
Yeah, people love him. But
Why
man,
didn't he
people
shoot the guy in the foot? If he didn't want to kill him, shoot him and blow his
because
fucking
no one
ankle
can
off.
really do that, and then it's a big. Look at him go.
Oh, that's amazing. And he doesn't do anything.
He doesn't
And
do-
so
no.
the guy just gets away?
The guy does get away.
Oh, this is not good.
But then after he lets him get away, I think he drops the gun and he goes away, and then he gets shot again in the arm. But who
my
knows what to
God.
do when there's a live.
Yeah, you don't know what to do. Well, that's a not good person. That's a good person.
He,
Didn't want
he
to
is a
kill
national
anybody.
hero at the moment, and I think if he had, man, people wanted him to be a Maronite Christian so bad. The Groypers were desperate for him to be. There was a lot of people going, well, actually,
You know, that's the real problem we have in this country. We want to pretend that people actually exist in groups.
Yeah.
Even if there's high percentages of people from groups that are doing bad things, there's still a giant percentage that are not. And to alienate all those people by just lumping it all in as one group together. Imagine you're a peaceful Muslim and you have to deal with this shit.
Oh, it'd
and you're
be-
like, guys, I just want to pray. I'm just trying to find oneness with God. That's all I'm trying
I
to
love
do.
twirling.
Yeah.
I'm one of the twirling ones. They're my favorite ones personally.
What's a twirling?
The twirling dervishes, they just love twirling.
Oh,
they love to
oh, oh.
twirl. But the
Twirling.
It's
I was trying to figure out what you were saying.
But this is what's weird. So after that, the government comes out and is like cracking down on right-wing extremism because it's a lefty government, and they go, we have a problem with right-wing extremism. So now they're trying to reclassify, globalized intifada jihadism as a form of right-wing extremism, which I guess
Well,
it's
you
not
have to-
commie lefty stuff.
Well,
but,
you have to look at it on paper. Objectively, it is.
yeah, but I don't know how much they hang out. I don't know if these
They
guys.
don't.
I don't think these guys are reading like, I don't know, William F. Buckley Jr. and
It's
stuff.
still. Let's break down what is right wing then. Okay. Let's say this. Okay. Do they want to completely control women's behavior and completely dictate whether or not the woman can leave the house with certain clothes on, what they're allowed to do, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of a right-wing thing, isn't it?
Yes.
Total religious adherence. They want a religious state.
Yeah, but the Taliban want to dance with little boys. That seems like a left-wing
That's
thing.
a separate break-off group. They're like the Baptists. They're like
Yeah.
the Catholics. You know what I mean? You got your regular
We deny that.
Christians, and then you got some other motherfuckers that are out there running wild
But
with
you're
new
talking
rules.
mainline.
Mormons. How about this?
What
You
are
know I mean?
Mormons?
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It's
Yeah.
like they're a break-off group. It's not the ones who are banging the boys. That's not normal. There's a lot of guys out there that are Muslim that are not banging boys. So when you connect them with the Taliban, they're like, hey, bro, I'm just praying over here.
It's all people just trying to have fun.
Yeah, yeah.
Who
but
am I to judge anybody?
The problem is then when you push these people, it's the same thing that happens when you call everyone a racist. What do you get? You get a Nick Fuentes. You get a guy who emerges who's got the balls to shit talk and have fun and say wild things that are very inappropriate and sometimes racist. That's what you get. You get someone embraces that guy because you've been told you're a racist just for being white.
Yeah.
You know, you've been told that there's something wrong with you, white male. Like there was a time where someone would say something in comments all the time. I'd watch these people arguing, and it was a common thing to say, as a white man, I think you should probably shut your fucking mouth. Like as a white man, like you're a white man, you're disqualified from having an opinion on something because you are a white man.
Yeah.
It's another form of racism. It's just an accepted form of racism that's really weird.
But then like Nick Fuentes is getting all his other ideas through as well, because he was the only person saying things that the average person would think was kind of normal.
Well,
I've been
he
thinking about
was,
this a lot, 'cause
but then he
Andrew Tate-
wasn't. A lot of the stuff he was saying that was not something
Yes.
the average person would think was
But
normal.
you sneak your other weird stuff through, like when everyone's going,
Right.
you know, like when he's getting attacked for going like a black neighborhood is going to be more violent on average in America. You go, yes, I've traveled around the country, and that is, I think there's a long history for why that's true.
Well, it's factually correct.
That seems to be correct.
The question is, though, why? And that's where it gets uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Because the real reason for why is a host of factors. But the primary one is crime and poverty. The primary one is they live in a community that's filled with crime and poverty.
Yes.
And and drugs. And if you have a community where people are selling drugs and it's crime and poverty, you're going to get a lot of violence, whether it's an Italian community, Armenian community, or any community where you got a lot of crime and a lot of poverty.
I first came here, I went to Appalachia.
People are going to get killed.
There are white people doing crazy,
wild-
crazy things.
You ever see The Wild and Wonderful Whites of West
I watched
Virginia?
it like a week ago.
Fucking
The
amazing.
most charismatic family I've ever seen.
Knoxville did that, didn't he?
Yeah. I think he was executive
produced
producer.
that. Yeah. Bro, that
It
dude,
made me feel so homesick. Look, I was only there for a couple months. I wanted to go back so badly.
the dancing outlaw.
When they're like, Granddaddy had a new way of dancing, and it's the most insane. You're like, was that really going to take off?
It did.
Was that the style of
Bro,
dancing?
when you're on meth, it's awesome.
I mean, meth
it's the
was
perfect
the least
dance
of their worries.
style.
They were.
Oh, they were on everything.
They were on the lot.
How about the lady? I'm always been thought of as the sexy one. She was a stripper, remember her?
Yeah, no, I
The
did.
voice.
I did a big
these are
deep
real
dive on
people.
Wikipedia
Here-
about them afterwards.
Here's,
She stomped a kitten.
which one's dancing here?
This is Jesco, American Outlaw.
Jesco
Oh, okay.
is
He's the younger guy.
he's
Well, he was at the
Jesco
time.
lives out the legacy.
Excuse me?
He's like, he keeps the dancing alive. He's the one who's a celebrity in the show.
Right,
But
right,
then there's
right.
another documentary about him, and in both documentaries, he complains about a woman making his eggs wrong. I
Yeah,
remember
that's that dude. Yeah.
He's
yeah.
got it. He's a charismatic guy.
Yeah, he said he would cut her if she gave him ruddy eggs. I was like,
Sloppy eggs.
settle down, bro. Like maybe we shouldn't be celebrating this.
But I think one of them just got out of prison. I think the one who at the start
Thank
of that
God.
documentary.
I hope Trump got him out.
he was,
Who got out? What'd he do?
the one who shot his uncle in the
Oh,
throat.
that
Remember
kid.
that guy?
Yeah.
I think he just got. That's the sexy one.
Yes.
I've always been
And-
the sexiest one in the family. Listen to what she said. How the way she says it though. The voice is incredible.
This is just pictures.
Yeah. I think that sexy one, I think she did get in trouble for stepping on a cat.
Well, there was a thing in that film that was interesting, though, towards the end, where you see, like, some of them are trying to, like, move away from that life. One girl got sober. So there was, like, a take to it where they realized, like, hey, this is not sustainable. This is a crazy way to live. I'm a mother. Like, what am I doing? You know, and she was trying to get out of it, which I think a lot of people do come to the realization if you're in that kind of a community. I got to get the fuck away from these crazy assholes and stop doing meth.
It is, yeah, I think.
But it's how do you do it? See, this is the thing. This is the thing. When you say, like, is it true that there's a higher percentage of murders that occur in black communities? Right. But as opposed to poor communities? Like, what about, like, in deeply impoverished communities? Like, and then when you introduce a history of gang violence and crime and no one ever does anything to stop it, it's going to stay the same.
Yeah.
Whether it's in Appalachia or whether it's... the Hatfields and the McCoys, all those motherfuckers that were killing each other back in the Wild West days. I mean, it was probably horrible back then. Why? Because they let it be that way. Nobody did anything about it. You couldn't stop them.
And I think some of the solutions for it are very bad. This is I don't want to speak out of turn because it's not my country. But, like, when I've been driving through it.
People love to come to America and tell us what to do. I love it.
I think it's the greatest country in the world, and I repeat that again.
Me too.
But when I drive through, like, a bad area, and there's, like, a Planned Parenthood with a line around the block, and things set on fire, and you can just, like, I know that Planned Parenthood started out as a eugenicist organization, where they went, like, that was the lady who founded it, that was her thing. And you can really see in those neighborhoods, it's like, if you have a child here, you're going to be tied to this community. We want you to get out. We want people who have the spirit to get out of here and to live a good, full life in America, not to be tied down to being in, like, a really difficult, crime-riddled area.
Yeah.
So abort your children so you can get out. Seems to be the... I think they're still doing the eugenicist thing of being like, just be free for different reasons, not because they want to dilute the numbers in the population or whatever, but because they go, you've got to be a free person who can leave and children will tie you to a place.
Yeah, that's a way to look at it.
That was when I was driving through, I forget where, Wisconsin, northern Wisconsin. I don't know. I just hit with this. So, oh, man. It's like usually the rough area of a town is lifted up by a freeway in America. Like, you don't, if you drive into Chicago, you're just way up here on a freeway and then you come down into, like, the most beautiful buildings you've ever seen in your life. And people go, it's very scary over in the other part of Chicago. And you go, I never saw it. I was...
above it.
I was 30 feet in the air.
Yeah, that's
But
a
in
good
some
move.
places, I have driven through it, and I've gone, or I've stopped, and you go, there's someone's, like, if I lived here, I mean, there are some areas that are so rough, where it's like, man, if I lived here, I would go and steal and kill from the people who live 20 minutes up the road for sure. Do you know, like, you just drive 20 minutes up the road, and there's a German town, and everything's perfect, and everyone's rich, and everyone's beautiful.
Yep.
And this doesn't happen in... I don't know. I'm from a very flat country by comparison. The highs and lows here are incredible.
Oh, the highs and lows of what? You mean
America.
You mean poverty and wealth?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like the Bronx being hour from the Hamptons.
Okay, if your New Year's resolution was change everything and be a new person, good luck. So instead of pretending you're going to meal prep kale forever or do morning cold plunges, here's one actually realistic thing, AG1. AG1 is a daily health drink that supports your energy, gut health, immune health, and helps fill common nutrient gaps. Just one scoop in cold water each morning, and you're off. It's got over 75 vitamins, minerals, probiotics, and whole food ingredients in there. So instead of guessing whether you need a probiotic or a prebiotic or sorting through 10 different bottles of pills and powders, you can just do one scoop and get on with your day. It's great because it feels like the grown-up move, but for once, it's actually really easy. It takes like 30 seconds, and you'll notice the steadiness that sets you up for the day. Not wired, not crashing, just functional human being energy. I partnered with AG1 for years, and if you want to give it a try, head to drinkag1.com/Joe Rogan, and for a limited time, you'll get a free AG1 duffel bag and free AG1 welcome kit with your first AG1 subscription order. Only while supplies last. That's drinkag1.com/Joe Rogan or visit the link in the description to get started.
And
all of it's real close. I used to say that, like, when I lived in LA, I was like, people, they're like, this is a good neighborhood. I go, right. But people from a bad neighborhood can just come into your good neighborhood. You know about all that, right? When people are like, why do you have dogs? Why do you have guns? I was like, what? Like, do you watch the news?
Yeah.
Are you fucking crazy? Like, you got to be careful out there. And most of the time, it's not going to happen to you. The 99.99% of people will never experience anything awful. But to not have any idea that it could ever happen to you is bad. I think the real problem, and this is the one that just doesn't get addressed with any politicians ever, is something massive has to be done to stop this like ancestral, like this lineage of people that are coming from these crime-ridden places, and no one changes anything about it at all. We had a cop on once from Baltimore, and he was telling us that while he was on duty, he found this like crime sheet, a doc sheet of all the things that happened in like 76 or something like that. And he was reading all the areas and all the crimes, and it dawned on him. It was like, oh my God, like this is the same crimes in the same area decades later, and nothing has changed. They need to do something huge. Like, treat that as if it's an untapped resource of human potential, because that's what it is. All those people in that community, if they had been born and raised with different families in a different place, completely different outcome. A giant percentage of who you are is dumb luck. And if the people that got the worst luck to be born in a crack house or be born in a place where there's gang violence on the street every day, and you go to school and you have to pick a gang, if you don't pick a gang, they'll fucking kill you. Like, what are you going to do? Like, you're not going to do anything but what everybody else is doing. That's what most people are going to do. The few that are going to break out, maybe they're musicians or an athlete or something like that, they break out.
Yeah.
But for the most part, you're fucked. But what it is untapped and unrealized human potential that's going to waste on the most stupid fucking shit in the world.
But then when you try and do something like that in America, the pushback is huge. Like, I think
what is the pushback of investing into communities?
Well, I would say, like, in a small, like, I think the National Guard going into some places.
Okay, that's different. So
That's what it can look like sometimes. Like, there are definitely,
that's what
like,
it can look like under
Portland-
this administration.
Portland, there's got to be a better way of doing it.
Well, you're just going to get too much pushback. But what you can't do is let it get to the point where it's feasible to call in the National Guard.
Yeah.
That's what's crazy. It's like their law enforcement has been so handcuffed by the administrations, especially in northwestern United States. Like, everybody, they don't get enough sun. They lost their fucking mind. Everyone's depressed and everyone's trans. It's crazy up there. It's crazy.
I was just in Portland. I was in Portland just before the National Guard went in, and I was in Portland, like...
How insane?
It's so much... You can walk around a little easier.
After the National Guard?
I will say, like, I know people were very upset in Portland about that, but I think just quietly they were going, it's kind of nice to be able to walk to the train station again.
The mayor in D.C. thanked Trump.
Yeah.
She's like, this is like the safest it's ever been here since you brought in the National Guard. Like, but the problem is that sets a fucking precedent. So here's the thing. If it's necessary, let's say you have a place that's a literal, not even a real place, a fictional place in America, where there's a literal gang war going on, and dozens of people are getting shot every day, and it's basically a war zone. Let's just imagine a place like that. You would say, okay, it's probably a good idea to bring in the military and control that, because the entire population is at risk. It's very dangerous. It's a literal war zone in the middle of a modern American city. We have to stop that. So, well, the thing is, it's okay. People are lighting newspaper stands on fire. People are doing this. People are breaking into Starbucks. Let's bring in the military. People aren't obeying the speech laws. Let's bring in the military.
Yeah.
People are not using their digital ID. Let's bring in the military. It's like there's got to be a separation between our army and our civilians, and it has to be a big fucking reason to break that separation.
I mean, you did it in the 60s in the South. When, like, busing
Don't
came
say
in.
me. I wasn't
Sorry,
even born.
y'all.
Don't say
The
me.
United States, when Jim Crow was happening in the South, the military got sent in, and people you desegregated the South by force.
Right.
So that was deemed to be like an appropriate use of, like a monopoly on violence to enact a social change. Like, you're not going to have segregated schools anymore. We're going to have the military there and make sure that this works out.
Crazy you have to bring in the military to get people to allow black people and white people to go to school together.
I mean, yeah, they didn't want it.
Well,
it's just so weird when I go to the South now, because everyone is so friendly and people do seem to get along. And you go, your grandparents were like,
Bro, they had to rip the
doing the
Band-Aid
craziest stuff.
Well, it's
Terrible. I mean, that Emmett Till, I just found out about that after I got here. It's unbelievable. And they were still shooting the Emmett Till statue that they put up. They had to like replace it with a bronze statue so the bullet holes wouldn't affect
really?
it.
That's what was going on?
I believe that was what was happening until like quite
sure
recently.
It wasn't just one KKK dude that ruined it
It may
for
have been
everybody
one
else.
dude.
You know what I'm saying? That's the problem. You get one wacky guy in a neighborhood, and you're like, that's a racist neighborhood. They were shooting the Emmett Till statue. Maybe it's one asshole
It could
works
be
at the
one.
tire shop. You know? One fucking dude smelling his own farts and loading up his rifle.
That one Arkansas MMA fighter who kept saying that he loved Hitler did a lot to hurt the reputation of that football team.
Yeah,
Because he
Bryce
always
Mitchell.
had the Razorbacks in the background.
Yeah. That wasn't a... I think he did not phrase that well. I think there's a lot of people. Here's the thing: there's a lot of people that become experts, and I'm guilty of this as well. By you're talking about something where you maybe watched a YouTube video. You know what I mean? Like maybe you read an article about it. It's some fucking Politico. Who knows? Who knows where you read it? It could be some crazy right-wing source. You read something, you took it as fact. And then you talk to a bunch of other people that also take it as fact. And next thing you know, you start talking and
You have the
you
biggest
start
show in the world?
saying shit. Yeah, that's me.
Okay, but people always criticize that. People always have a go at the podcasters for like spouting off on things that they're not.
Yeah,
don't have
but
a
that
PhD
is
in.
what I do.
But how come there's no responsibility on the mainstream legacy media for having gotten really, really boring over the last
Not just boring.
15, 20 years?
Boring is...
I would say
that's
lying as
no,
well.
No,
But people-
compromise.
compromise-
Completely compromised. Totally untrustworthy. Completely compromised.
I just got the New York Times app because I thought I'll have a look at that. I finally got enough money where I can pay $1 a week to be on the New York Times app.
Yeah.
And it's so, I mean, it's just, they've built Twitter. Like the experience of it and the scrolling on it, it feels like you're in Twitter, but only mediated through selected journalists from the New York Times. And suddenly you're like, I'm just stepping into for a moment whatever bubble that is. I wanted to take a look at it.
Well,
It's like
I think they're all going to have to course correct. I think they're all going to have to realize
They're
that
trying.
it's not being intellectual, like a true intellectual, a true progressive, by only looking at things from one perspective, and to automatically assume that anybody that has a different perspective.
Oh.
Hey, we're back.
there we go.
Where was I?
So they need to have a course correction. We're talking about the mainstream media and that
Well,
they've lost that many people.
That's what I'm saying. Was that you can't proclaim yourself to be intellectual by only listening to one perspective and to being like very aggressive and hostile about the other perspective. Immediate ad hominems, immediate attacks on, lumping everyone in together, associated, like we were talking about earlier, associating ancient history with racism. Like you're doing that. It's a little trick you're doing.
Yeah.
You're not having a real conversation. You're being a bitch. And this kind of communication sucks. It sucks for the left. It sucks for the right. When people on the right, it's a bad human communication skill. If you were good at it, you would want other people to have different opinions, and you'd want to hear those opinions and talk to those people.
I think they're trying to course correct. This is
You
what's weird
have
to
to.
watch. And it's who they're. I don't want to. They love Schultz at the New York Times.
Well, he goes over
They've
there.
picked him. Yes, they've
But
picked
he
him. out
goes
as
over
they're
there
like,
and
we can
talks
work
to
with
them.
him.
Yeah, well, he's very
Starvey,
smart.
They want him.
Sure, and he's another guy who's very smart and very fun. So like they want these people because they've been kind of locked out of the fun.
Yeah. Well, they just pretended that it didn't exist.
Do you see Schultz talk to them though? When he talks to
on
them?
the round table.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was great.
It's hilarious because they're talking in these bullshit terms.
Yeah.
and he's like, "Hold on, let's just talk real here."
Where he goes, the Jews, and everybody laughs because
Because he's a comedian.
he's allowed to be funny.
Yeah, and there's another one that he did with another guy. I forget from what other mainstream media publication. It was the same sort of situation, and to have it that way, where it's a one-on-one conversation, then you get to see like the weird way that they actually think and communicate. The bubble, like when Tim Dillon was
The
on
CNN one. I
Yes.
was going to say that's why I moved my ring up.
Amazing.
Because she kept asking this. She didn't want it. They resisted releasing that as a long form things.
Yes.
And you can see why, because she's asking the same question 3 or 4 times in a row
Yeah.
to try and bait something, which is not how a conversation works.
We
where you go,
pressured them into putting
"Really?"
the whole thing out.
She keeps going, real?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Real? Just to get him, because he's a fun guy and he wants to say something funny, and she's like baiting him
Yeah.
to say something exaggerated.
Yeah, Jon Stewart had the best response to this whole thing. He was talking to some guy from the New Yorker, and they were talking about this podcast, and he's like, they were talking about different opinions and different people that I've talked to, and he's like, but Joe Rogan has the biggest audience in the world. He has a bigger audience. He's like, well, go get a big audience.
Yeah.
Go get it.
It's not like they don't have the finances.
You just go figure it out, do it right, and you'll get a big audience. Like, it's not that fucking complicated. I don't have pyrotechnics. There's no CGI. There's not even a crew. There's a skeleton crew of people who do this.
But I think some of it is it's just like ivory tower mentality of if it becomes like that, they think there is a sense in people who have got like a very big education and have gone through the whatever system you have to jump through to get to an elite
Right.
legacy thing,
Right.
is that most people are too stupid to have like an open and honest conversation with.
Right.
And that if stupid people like you, then that's a problem. That's how they're viewing the world, and that there's like...
Well, they're also
that they
viewing the
are-
world in that they're protecting people from opinions they don't agree with. Even though they listen to those opinions, it has no effect on their position. They keep
Yeah.
the same position.
Yes.
But they're worried that people dumber than them. It's a very condescending thought process.
To think that you're the only open-minded person.
Right. And not only that, and people that are dumber, which is most people, you're going to fall into the trap of what this person's saying that I don't agree with.
And there's... Yes.
Yeah.
And that the only way to get people to listen to you is to like spin lies. Like you can't just be honest.
Exactly.
Which is what I think the podcasting thing is. It's what it is. You can't really put on a facade for 3 hours talking to somebody.
Maybe you can.
I think that might be who he is at this point.
Yeah, he is definitely that. Well, that's why I wanted to do a podcast with him. So you could say 3 hours. By the way, no questions beforehand, no prep, didn't pee, sat there for 3 hours. He's almost 80. Like, if he was wearing a diaper, respect. But the guy just fucking hung out for 3 hours. Does that mean I agree with everything he does? Fuck no. Of course not.
But he
That's
was able to be
ridiculous.
himself for 3. He was able
Yeah.
to talk for 3 hours. Whereas Kamala wouldn't do it.
Well,
She wouldn't do it.
could have. She could have done it. I'm telling you, man.
I
It would have
watched
been
her
fine.
for 6 minutes on Stephen Colbert, and I don't
It's
think
different.
she could do it.
It's different. He's kind of being like an interviewer, right?
Yeah.
He's in this weird position where he's at a desk. The desk is beside you for some reason because that's how they always used to do it. So these fucking uncreative people just do it the exact same way always. It doesn't make any sense. Why does he have a desk? Is he writing? What does he have?
Yeah.
Does he have pens in the drawer? Like, what are we doing here? Like, why am I on a
The
couch
microphone
over
has to sit
here?
on
Why am I
something.
sitting down, like, to the right of you? It's weird. It's always in the same position. Host is always to the right.
Yeah.
They're always to the left of the screen. It's goofy, right? So he's doing this thing that you only do on television in front of an audience, by the way. You should never have a conversation in front of an audience. Because as soon as you do, the people are aware of the audience.
Yeah.
You're aware of how people think and feel, and you're playing to them. And some people say things to try to get a rise out of you in front of the audience, like, ugh.
Yeah.
If you want to do that, it's a different thing. But if you're going to have like a really important conversation with someone, you don't want to do it in a fucking audience. So Stephen, the way he's doing is handicapped from the jump. Also, you only have 7 minutes before you have to cut for commercial or whatever it is. You can't do that. It'll take me 7 minutes to ask what she likes to cook. I want to know I don't know. I want to know. Is there anything that she regrets doing? What does she learn from this time? Is it more complicated being a vice president than you thought it was going to be? Like, what is the web of trying to fix things and change things versus the people that are influencing you to make decisions? Because we're not pretending that people don't spend a lot of money to influence your decisions. So how much of an effect does it have?
What do you actually believe when they come to you asking for those favors?
What would be better? Could we take money out of politics? Would you be willing? What would we do if we completely eliminated corporate funding of any politicians? How would that change everything? Those are the kind of questions we could have talked for hours about.
But
that.
she doesn't want to do that. And the people around her, this is what I mean. There's something that the right used to have this as well. And both sides of politics had it. And I remember there was like Howard Dean, I think it was, did a weird scream.
Yeah, one
time,
scream.
and the whole thing fell apart. And that really stayed with me. That I remember watching politics, and there was some sense of like everything is very manufactured, and if you make a single mistake, oh my God, you're going to lose the primary. It's all over. And Trump destroyed that with the Republicans, where it all became very, we've just got to like hang out and talk, and everyone got very loosey-goosey on the right.
Yeah.
And the Democrats have not adjusted to that and had their, like Bernie could do it. They just froze Bernie out, and they did everything they could to stop him coming through.
Right, like Marjorie Taylor Greene. You could not have a person like that before Trump. There's no way. There's no way.
I mean, you can't have her with. She's gone.
She's
right?
gone now.
She's gone.
But she wouldn't have existed without him. Like that sort of brash, crazy personality, that had not existed in a congressperson.
And there will be someone on the left who can do that.
Jasmine Crockett. She's doing that.
Man, maybe.
She gets aggressive
She
and
does.
loud, and they get crazy with each other. Listen, it's a reality
I like
show
her.
now.
I know people don't like her. I think she's hip. She would maybe come on the show.
Okay.
Have you invited her to come on the show?
No. Listen,
I'm
I
too
think,
scared to have me on the show.
I think a lot of them
come up
are
with rhymes about
probably
you?
very nice people. Very nice people. And this is not an attack on any individuals. I think that system turns you into a sociopath. That's what I think. And I think there's very few people, Tulsi Gabbard, my friend, being one of them. I'd love her. She's amazing. She's a real person. Like that lady is the same person on air, off air, meeting people, hanging out with her husband. I've hung out with her hours and hours and hours. That's who she is. She's cool as fuck. And she was a congressperson, but she has horror stories.
Yeah.
When she tells you like what it's like on the inside, and when you find out how these people are making hundreds of millions of dollars on $170,000 a year salary, and no one's batting an eye, that is kind of kooky. It's kind of kooky because even ones you wouldn't suspect, like, wait a minute, they're worth how much? Now you don't really know how much they're worth, right? You'd have to get an audit, right? Because what you're hearing is a reporting of what they're worth. And it could be total propaganda. It could be half of what it is. But even if it's millions, even if it's a couple million, if you've been a congressperson for 2 years and now all of a sudden you're worth $3 million and you were in debt before you became a congressperson, that's suspicious. And if you look at the people that invest money, that's where it gets really crazy because it is not a blue thing and it's not a red thing. It's both. Everybody is making money on the stock market. There's a shitload of these people that are buying a bunch of stock and then conveniently a short time later a bill gets passed that they were working on that makes it very profitable for that country. Stock shoots through the roof. They make a giant windfall.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember who said it. There was some line that someone said about like you can sort of believe what you want in American politics and you'll get rich for it. Like no matter what you actually believe, there's a group out there who are going to get you rich for having a belief in it. Like if it's the environmental people, if it's the fossil fuel people.
Right.
I mean, there would be varying scales of it. But also you can fix this. Like there are ways to
fix the money in politics?
I've been reading a lot about Lee Kuan Yew.
Who's that?
He was the dictator of Singapore. They might not like that because he won.
Don't go there.
He won elections, but Singapore is like a single party state.
Oh, so it's like when Putin wins.
I don't want to get in trouble with the people of Singapore.
Listen,
but it is notable that one party wins every single time, and they don't primary, and they win almost all the seats, and they are really popular. But he brought in like canings, and he got drugs out of the country, and he started paying the politicians a lot. Like, if you're a politician in Singapore, you get a huge salary, but you are not to ever be corrupt. Like, you're meant to have enough money that they can't really buy you. And that might be the only way. Because if you have, what are they earning? $170,000 something a year to be a congressperson. If they are making $3 million a year, and the punishment for taking money from anybody else or from getting a stock, maybe you can't own stocks, but we give you $3 million a year.
Right.
Then at least you can't be swayed. Like you're taking a lot of tax money to do the job, but at least there's some insulation on someone being able to go, I want you to vote this way.
I think if you have a totalitarian dictatorship, you could probably pull that off because if the politician is bad, you could shoot him.
Yes.
The problem in America, if you have $3 million and you know a guy who's got $50 million, you feel poor because we're retarded. All right? Brian Callen has a friend who's worth, I think he's worth $8 billion, and he feels broke because his friend is worth 30.
I don't.
No, for real.
Yeah.
There's people that get that goofy.
I've seen it a couple times.
So if you're in the business of trying to make money, which is what most politicians are, it's like they decided not to go into sales, they go into politics, they're trying to make as much money as they can while they're there.
Yeah.
Right? That's what most people are doing with most jobs. If you're doing that and you're just kind of a person who's drawn to that kind of a job, you're not going to be happy with your salary. If you find out that there's some NGO that you can invest in and you can start a nonprofit and then it becomes a profit and you can funnel money overseas and then corporations that you buy into also can use the laws that you're passing, you're going to do it anyway. They're going to do it anyway.
This is why Plato says
they're
not allowed to touch money.
I cannot be corrupted. You'd have to kill them. If you catch them corrupt, you got to shoot them in front of everybody. You're going to say, this is what happens when you steal from America. Boom. I'm not saying you should do that, but I'm saying that's the only way you're going to stop it. It would have to be a totalitarian dictatorship. But then it brings us back to the thing about using the military in the cities. When do you draw the line?
Yeah.
When do you draw the line? Okay, what's hate speech, right? So hate speech can mean a bunch of different things to different people. So as soon as you say we can't permit hate speech, okay, well then you can't permit freedom of speech because you're just defining hate by whatever. That's the same line when you bring the military into the cities. It's the same line. It's like you're doing something you shouldn't be able to do, and you're justifying doing it, saying because this is a special case. But the problem is, what if that gets solved? You're going to move further to the even more ridiculous. You've already got me to allow you to arrest. You can arrest me for tweeting things. Okay, I've already said yes to that. So what else is next? Like you're gonna keep going. If you make money, you want to make more money. If you pass laws, you want to pass more laws.
Yeah,
that's how you get numbers on the board. That's how you win this fucking game. You can't let them ever score.
Then you have to de-game the system.
Well,
long term, if you're going to have a democracy, you have to have.
Yeah. You got to de-game the system. But the problem is there's so much profit in it, and they get to vote on whether or not they can still do this insider trading thing, right? Which is bananas. Like, who thinks we should still steal? Oh, can we have an anonymous vote?
You don't have this problem with an aristocracy. That's all I'm saying.
Well,
if you finally go back to the powdered wigs and silk stockings,
there's a terrible argument for that. Because you're just hoping that the person is a benevolent dictator. That's the best case scenario. You get a benevolent king. But how many of those have ever existed?
We've had so many beautiful benevolent kings. We've got a benevolent king right now in my country.
It's strange, right? It's like there's no right way to run people because no one really should be one. There's never a time where it makes sense where one person is the head dude of 350 million people. That is nuts. That is completely nuts.
Yeah. But you also, I mean, as a country, you have a great tolerance, I think, compared to other like Western democracies for letting there be some chaos.
Yeah, because we have guns. That's part of it.
I think
this is a heavily armed country.
Tolerating chaos allows you to have the guns, though. Like if you didn't have the virtue of going, some people are going to get shot, and we're going to be okay with that.
Well, it's not just that. It's like, it was written into the Constitution because we were rebelling, right? We were rebelling from a dictatorship. We had escaped. And when we had declared that this was a country, we were like, we got to stay strapped because these motherfuckers might come back. And we all agreed to that.
Yeah.
And then it got to a point where people go, okay, but they were talking about muskets. Now people have AR-15s. Now people have, switches they could put on Glocks and it can fire automatic. Like,
is a tactical nuclear weapon defended under the Second Amendment?
You want to hear the scariest thing that I heard? This was a guy that was talking about the UAP program and the back engineering of flying saucers.
Yeah.
What do they call it? A simultaneous or a spontaneous? What was the word that he used for it? Instantaneous. That these UFOs that they believe use some sort of a gravity, some sort of a propulsion system that's unknown to modern science, standard conventional science. And they can literally transport, like going from place to place in space instantaneously. And so what did the United States government try to do? They tried to use it as a method of delivering a nuclear bomb. So an instantaneous nuclear payload delivery system. That's what they were calling flying saucers. The first thing they thought about doing with them
Put a
was
nuke
instantaneously deliver a nuke. So no one could retaliate and they didn't even see it coming. You would just have a flying saucer with a nuke appear at the Kremlin.
Now, what's weird though, you guys had that capability for years.
Allegedly.
No, I mean,
mean the bomb?
when no one else had the nuclear bomb, and when we didn't have good anti-air programs, and just America alone had nuclear weapons.
Yeah.
You could have at that point. You could have said,
Went
we're in
ham.
charge of the world now or everyone's dead.
Well, there was a bunch of people that did. I mean, that's what Doctor Strangelove's all about, right?
You made movies about it and you talked about it, but
Yeah.
you didn't do it when the Suez crisis kicked off. I think Eisenhower was like, can we get a nuke in there? And people said, no, Mr. President.
Bro, they came real close to nuking things 3 or 4
But
times.
what a beautiful thing that you
Didn't.
held back.
Yes.
No one
Yeah.
else would have. I talk about this. I think about this a lot. That like, if anyone else had discovered the nuclear weapon, that's it. You'd have global hegemony by one power.
Well, I think
forever.
that is one thing about America that most people will agree to, is that we like to think of ourselves as being the best country in America, and that comes with responsibility. Being
Yeah.
the greatest superpower comes with responsibility. That's why people get real uncomfortable about like drone bombing statistics and shit like that. They get real uncomfortable because it makes you really question like what we do.
Yeah.
When you when you tell people, did you know that like more than 80% of the people that die in drone bombings are civilians? Accidental kills.
Also, every time someone tries to be nice about Obama, then they have to go, oh, were the drone bombings. He did
Yeah.
drone bomb a lot of innocent people.
I know. They always have to do that. Listen, I think we found out through Obama, most likely what you find out through anybody that gets through there that's not Trump, is that they immediately co-opt you into the system. You had no idea how the system worked until you got in there. You were a senator for 2 years, and then all of a sudden you're president. You had some amazing ideas, and you're a great spokesperson and probably the best statesman we've ever had, like the best representative of the best about America, a guy who is from a single mom, grew up poor, didn't have a silver spoon in his mouth.
Yeah.
Forget about all the narratives of him being related somehow to the Bushes. There's a lot of that.
I didn't know that.
Oh, there's like a whole conspiracy theory. But point is that what you got is a guy who was promoting hope and change, right? And that's what we were all really hoping was going to happen, but not. It was really kind of like another Bush term in terms of like foreign policy, in terms of a lot of things. In terms of like the way America felt about America, though, it was good. It was like, hey, racism has obviously like stopped being an issue to get you to be the president of the United States because a black man just won. And it's not saying that racism doesn't exist, but we're doing better than we used to do. This was not possible when Martin Luther King Jr. was making his I Have a Dream speech, but it is possible now. So we have progressed. And he's brilliant. So it's and he's like well measured and calm and peaceful, and he never calls reporters piggy. He never he never makes mean tweets when his enemies die. So as a representative of America.
It's gotten to the point where the Rob Reiner tweet just went over. It just like
it killed it for a lot of people. Yeah.
Is that it? But like, no, I mean, I saw it and I was like, oh yeah, of course, he's mocking a dead man.
Well,
That's
that
what
guy
he's-
tried to jail him for year, and this is not forgiving him for that. This is not
Rob Reiner
excusing
tried
him.
to jail.
Oh my God! There's a video of him working with intelligence agents. He was working with James Clapper and who's the other guy? Clapper and why? How come I can't remember that?
I still think it's a good
But there's
policy
like a
that once a guy dies.
well-produced. 100%.
Just it was with McCain as well. I remember
Yes.
that they hated each other.
I know, 100%. It's gross. It's a gross thing to mock a man after he's dead. It's just pointless. But the real problem is it's a bad look for America in general, right? It's a mark of cruelty that ultimately could lead people to think differently about America and perhaps motivate attacks. That's a real thing. Like a kooky person, you can sway them either way by the vibe the country's giving off.
Yeah.
When the president is giving off a vibe that, his enemy, he's mocking the fact that his enemy was obsessed with him.
Also,
and
I've had
that's
friends-
what led to his son going crazy and killing him.
I've had friends come over and visit me, and almost all of them have been scared to come. Like people who haven't been to America before.
They're scared to come to America?
People are very scared to come to
Good.
America. Yeah. Well, this is like not
What are they
Hondurans.
scared of?
This is just Australians who are like, there's gun violence. It looks, if all you're seeing is the
Oh, yeah.
the news, you go, well, civil wars right around the corner.
Well, that's
and then
what
you're
they
here,
want us to
and
see.
it's like
That's what they want us
people
to
are
see.
way more interested in college football than killing each other in the street.
Especially in Texas.
Yeah.
Most people are way more interested in living their lives. The problem is when your life becomes that. The problem is when your life becomes a cause. When your life, whether it's a religious cause, a jihadist cause, a right-wing cause, a left-wing cause, your life becomes a fucking cause. We have to stop oil now. And you're gluing your fucking hand to a painting. There's a lot of nutty, stupid shit that goes on with just being a human being. It's all accelerated by social media.
But I find it heartening that people give a shit here.
Yeah.
That people know on some level. Maybe they don't have like a good grasp of what's actually happening in the world.
Yeah.
But there's a sense in America that people kind of know who their politicians are. They're across what the issues that they're being asked to vote on are. And this, in Australia, the extent to which people have no idea what is going on and are so checked out and don't know any of it and are not like actively participating in democracy. You guys really care. Like people primary and they scrutinize people and there's some belief that you can still get involved in politics here. It's like the most heartening thing about it.
That's awesome.
And that's the downside is if everybody cares, then you get people going off the deep end.
Well, you just got to keep it a fair game. And as long as you keep it a fair game, if you don't do a good job and that person gets into power, you fucked up. So now your team has to regroup and rebuild and come back again in 4 years. And that's what it's supposed to be. But when you start trying to do things like moving all the illegals to specific states so that you get more congressional seats because of the census, and then you start giving them Social Security numbers and Medicaid and Medicare, and you start rigging the system because you want to bring in more voters, and you're spending, and this is what they did. This is undeniable at this point.
Well, Fetterman was copped to it. He was like, yeah, that's how you do it. I saw him on your...
It's undeniable what they did. And I get it. You're playing a dirty game. They're playing a dirty game. And this is not a right or left thing. I remember that Hacking Democracy documentary that was on HBO back in the day. It was during the Bush administration. And this Hacking Democracy, they had tested these voting machines. And this is a long time ago, right? So this is what was it, 2004, Jamie? What was that? Somewhere around then? So this was a much less sophisticated system that I'm sure that they're using today, but there was a third-party input. For some reason, it had been set up so a third party can input data into the machine and change the votes. And they did it on TV. They showed that they could do it easily, and they affected the votes. So they showed back then, they were essentially saying that the Bush administration had rigged the vote, and that's how they got Bush into office. And this company that made these machines was a big contributor to the Republican Party. So this shit has been going on both sides.
But that was true.
Man.
I mean, in 2000, that was true.
So
everybody thinks
here
the
it is.
JFK election.
The film investigates, for sure, the JFK election, the flawed integrity of the electronic voting machines, particularly those made by Diebold election systems, exposing previously unknown backdoors in the Diebold trade secret computer software. The film culminates dramatically in the on-camera hacking of the in-use working Diebold election system in Leon County, Florida, the same computer voting system which has been used in actual American elections across 33 states and which still counts tens of millions of American votes today. Whoa, today? Is that real? The same fucking machines?
When it was written, I don't know.
When did this article come out?
This is Wikipedia. I don't know.
It's usually up there.
Bro, that's crazy if they're still using the same machines. But that was a thing during Georgia, right? They were supposed to upgrade their machines, but they decided to wait until after the election to do it.
Why is there no pressure to make the elections feel more real?
I think because they're both rigging it.
Right, but if
This
they're
is what I
both
think.
rigging it,
I don't
then
think,
if neither
I think
of them
it's
was
just,
rigging it...
They just want to win, man, and then call everybody conspiracy theorists. Both sides, by the way. This is not one side or the other. I think both sides are trying to do whatever the fuck they can.
I don't think both sides rigging it is the
it's
same...
not been used in business in the U.S. since 2009. Well, this is about the Bush administration, the Diebold things, and what you're hearing about mail-in ballots, that's about the left. It's like you're getting the same thing on both sides. One of the things that Rep. Luna said when she was on the podcast I thought was fascinating. She's like, there's certain problems that they don't want to fix because they can campaign finance against it. They can get people to donate money against it.
Okay.
They could run on that platform. We're going to fix this. They don't want to fix it because that's how they get money.
Right, like if you're a homelessness
Whatever
curing
it is.
organization, you actually need the homeless so you can keep existing.
Not only that, it's even worse. They're incentivized to have more homeless.
Yeah.
They get paid per homeless. So if they have more homeless people, they can say, hey, we need a bigger budget. We have more homeless people.
I remember when we had the unemployed in Australia, it was like we had these companies that it was their job to get you a job and the government would pay the money. But you got more money for finding someone a job if they've been unemployed for a longer period of time. So it's like, don't try too hard to find them a job for the first 2 years. All right? 2 years in, then get them a job.
Yeah, you're growing some plants.
Then
you don't want to pick it so early.
Yeah, it's not. I don't think the answer is just a good king who solves everybody's problems, but I really do.
You'd be a good king. Why don't you go over to Australia and be king of Australia?
We've got enough problems.
You can fix it.
I've talked about getting our own king I did a show about it once. I think Aboriginal king would be.
Well, everybody
bring the country together.
Yeah, for sure. That'll work. Everybody wants like the perfect system, and it's not going to ever exist, and I don't think it ever will, because I think there's always going to be, no matter what happens, no matter who's in charge and no matter who's doing this, there's always going to be people that oppose, no matter what, naturally oppose, even if illogically. It's never going to be perfect, but you got to make it the most fair. It's got to be fair, and as soon as you catch someone rigging the system, that has to be alarm bells that go off for everybody on every side. It shouldn't. If you find out that there was mail-in ballots that were illegal and that were fake and they were brought in so that the Republicans can win some sort of a primary, if you found out that was true and you were a Republican, you're supposed to be upset.
Yeah.
Like someone is cheating this incredible system that we have, and you're not going to have the will of the people. This episode is brought to you by the farmer's dog. Here's a fun fact. Research shows that dogs who maintain a healthy weight can live up to 2.5 years longer on average than dogs who are overweight. Isn't that wild and also kind of obvious at the same time? So why is feeding vague scoops of ultra-processed kibble still the status quo for most dog owners? Healthy alternatives exist. Ones that are all about investing in the long-term health of your dog, like Farmer's Dog. The Farmer's Dog makes fresh food for dogs. The recipes are made with real meat and fresh vegetables that are gently cooked to retain vital nutrients. They also portion out the meals to your dog's nutritional needs, which helps avoid overfeeding and makes weight management easier. And isn't getting more time with our four-legged best friends something that every dog owner wants? The answer to that is yes, obviously. So try the Farmer's Dog today and get 50% off your first box of fresh, healthy food. Plus, get free shipping. Just go to thefarmersdog.com/Rogan. This offer is only for new customers.
You got to make it seem fair enough so that there's not a violent uprising.
It's gotta
be
just
for having a future
real.
of the country.
It's gotta be the will of the people. It's
January
gotta be
7th thing.
Yeah,
that was people going. No, but that was those
sort
people.
of.
That was a lot. There were some people there who were definitely feds trying to bring them in the building.
Dude, I wonder how many were feds before that.
Yeah.
Here's the question: there's a bunch of people that were feds at the scene. They finally had to admit that. We were talking about that.
To the Capitol.
Yeah,
that man's crazy. Have you seen that
Yeah.
guy? It's crazy.
It's crazy. There's a bunch of people that called people to go into the Capitol to break in, and a bunch of them probably were feds. But how many feds were on these chat groups? How many feds were on message boards? How many feds were instigating people to do things and talking about things that aren't true or saying things that they're planning? How many feds were trying to get the kookiest of the kooky riled up?
Yeah. But then also, like, why is the blame not on? Why do the Democrats not go? We've contributed to making a system that, even if this is a totally legitimate, like, group of people who really believe what they're doing by storming the Capitol, we've contributed to building a system that looks really fake to a lot of people.
Yeah,
where we could take really easy steps to make it look less fake. Like, you could have. I don't understand why voter ID isn't everywhere, and they go, well, not everyone has an ID.
Well, it's racist.
Give them one.
It's racist. What you're saying is racist.
How hard could it be to go...
Check your white privilege. You are a straight white male. Why don't you just shut the fuck up and sit this one out?
All the other races can have a photograph taken of themselves just as easily on a little laminated card.
All those other races just a few years ago needed proof of vaccination. So this is kooky. It's completely kooky.
It would be... but then nothing is being done now to actually bring it in.
It's illegal to show your ID in California.
What? Where? When?
California.
In the whole state of California?
You cannot show your ID when you vote.
If you want to.
You can't show it.
You
to
can't
them.
wear it on a lanyard
Nope.
around your neck?
Nope, they'll fire you. They'll kick you out of there. You can't vote now, sir. I don't know what they would do if you came in with a lanyard. That might be the move. But the point is, they made it easier to cheat on purpose. Like, that's the only reason why you would do that. And to say, like, it's racist to require ID, how do I know who you are? I don't know you. There's 1 million people in this fucking town. And this is like one polling station is a line around the block. I don't know you. I need your ID. This is crazy.
There was a clip from the Obama election that I remember watching where they were talking to a guy who was like, they asked him, have you ever voted before? He said, no. Did you vote? He goes, yeah, it felt so good. I went back and did it again. And then they cut off to somebody else. But I've always remembered that felt.
Yeah, if you don't have ID, you could just change your clothes and go back in, especially if you're a nondescript,
I don't have an
person.
anti-Gavin Newsom bent, but I don't understand why he's the guy the Dems are pushing.
Because
He's from a state that everybody agrees is in huge disrepair.
he doesn't agree that. He thinks it's killing it.
They can't build a train.
No, it's great.
They've wasted billions of dollars
No,
trying to
no.
get a reasonably short distance covered with a train.
Listen,
and he can't do it.
They're going to get it worked out. He's going to be president, and then he's going to fix it all. The problem is Trump. The reason why it's Trump. Trump is the real reason why California's failed. It's Trump. Once he gets into office, Trump will be out, and he'll fix the whole country and say, guys, you had to trust me on the long plan. People will buy into it. The reason why is because there's no one else. This is the reason.
There must be so many
They force
charismatic.
so many people that are rational out. So many people that aren't corrupt, they force them out. And then other people don't want their laundry dug up. They don't want fake
Yeah,
stories
no, that
told
is-
about them. They don't want ex-girlfriends to get paid off to come up with crackpot theories of them being a satanic person or whatever, drug
This is
addict,
why-
abusive.
All right.
He did this.
Only people who are
Left a dead bear in the park.
should get like Bill Cosby as the candidate, or people of Bill Cosby level stature. This is my new idea.
Okay,
Okay,
let me hear it.
just someone who is so there's nothing to blackmail them with. People already think this is one of the worst people
R. Kelly
imaginable.
for president.
Right? You can't. Everyone knows he had a dungeon with a lady in it. Okay, you can't blackmail R. Kelly at this point. So whatever R. Kelly says he wants to do, he probably wants to do that. His reputation can't get any lower.
Right.
If you only put forward people who have done terrible things.
Yeah,
If Epstein was still alive, you could have him. Because what are you going to blackmail him with? He was doing all sorts of terrible.
Well, you would like to have a very good person who just hasn't done terrible things because you're just a very good
Yeah,
person.
but you can just lie about them. The only security against being blackmailed, even about a lie,
is to be a total piece of
is
shit.
to be the worst man in the country.
Right. Yeah.
No one likes
Well,
my idea.
It's a good idea for now. I think what we're going to really be able to know within the next few years is whether or not you're telling the truth. I think with wearable electronics, I think ultimately they're trying to do something that allows you to communicate head to head. Have you seen that stuff where they do it?
I'm not getting it. I don't
Have you
want
seen?
it.
Well, what they have right now is a wearable. These guys put it on, they think something, and then the other person hears it.
This is one of the worst things I've ever heard.
Oh, you have to
We're
see
doing
it.
that?
You have to see it. It's crazy when you watch them actually do it. So right now, it's attached to an actual computer behind them, but that's for now. Eventually, it's going to be wearable, just like everything. It gets smaller. I mean, this is bigger than
You're so much more relaxed with the AI stuff and the technology than I am.
you can't.
I'm fighting it.
If you see the asteroid coming, you have to realize you're going to die. Like, there's nothing you can do about it.
The Amish have continued very happily.
I don't
With their
think
carts.
it's going to be as disastrous as everybody thinks. I just don't believe that. I think we'll figure it out. But I think it's going to be a massive upheaval of completely our economic system, our life system, the way we interact. But we have to realize, this is what's really important, the way we interact is really new. The way we live in cities stacked in high rises and driving around in cars, this is a tiny little blip in time that the human race has existed like this. Before that, we had a totally different thing. And for the longest time, people traded things back and forth. And they used gold coins and silver coins. And there was no stock market. Like this whole thing that we're doing right now with automation and you're worried about it's taking jobs, those jobs weren't even a thing in the past. Yeah, we built this giant population based on the fact that jobs would exist, or it gave people the confidence to procreate, get married, and have kids. And this, we'll find another way. We'll have to. People will have to. It's not going to be pretty, but it's just like everything else that happens, it's this massive change in society and culture. We're going to have to adapt.
I'm in flight mode on it. I want to
I know
be
you
on
are.
an acreage. You know,
You get nervous when I play AI music in the
I
green
do.
room.
When I go, this is good, and you go, say hi, and I go, Gah.
Yeah, you love that
I get
country.
spooked.
That country one I played the other day. That was good, right?
50 Cent stuff is fantastic.
Ooh.
My favorite remains the Japanese cover of Oasis. Have you heard Japanese Oasis?
No, I have not.
If you type in Japanese Wonderwall, it is.
Oh,
I
let's
like it a
go.
lot. But
Can we
one
play
day-
it? Can we play it, Jamie?
I've
Or
listened to
would
it
it be an
100
issue? We
times.
got to cut it out. We'd have to cut it out. All
I
right,
don't
we'll
think
cut it
anyone
out.
owns the rights to Japanese.
They might. Somebody probably
People
does.
who wrote the song Wonderwall do.
Really?
That's how that works.
Mm.
The performance of this would be a different situation, but
I can do it now. I can do it a cappella.
Let's hear
I'm getting
it.
a lot of trouble.
Let's hear it. Wonderwall Oasis cover Japanese Enka is the title on YouTube.
this is the right one. I'm hoping.
Yeah,
It
this
says
is it.
New Wave Films is the page. You have a problem.
I love
Stop
this.
Stop this. Stop
love
this.
that.
Stop this. You're a sick man, James
Mock
McCann.
beats, I
Why
want
do
this
you like
almost
that?
totally-
Why do you like that?
Because it's the funniest voice of all time.
But it's weird. It's not a real person, and it looks like an old video.
So they've cut up an old video and put it over the AI music.
Oh, that's what they did.
But if
So
you
they
look
have
very
these people
closely, you can
singing
find the
other things?
original music, and she's singing some beautiful folk song about a sad
I thought
man.
it was like AI generated video because you could do
No,
that, you know.
I want to retreat from it. I want to be on a farm. I want to have the chicken. I know, but this is also not like a serious way to build a society. I'm shocked that no one's blowing up the servers. Like when they invented the loom, people in Britain were like, "We will destroy all of the looms." No one is like upset now that robots can think.
Well, they don't know what to do, right? And
Yeah.
it feels inevitable because it is. No one's going to stop it, and if they did stop it, no one would listen. And if we did listen, the problem is China's not going to listen. And it's a Manhattan Project kind of race.
Yes, but then you go, okay, we've got to get the nuclear bomb first. But how does that pan out in the end? Is
Well,
that
here's-
everybody has the nuclear bomb.
But here's the thing. You have to have one. Like if AI exists and they can take over your financial system, they could do like you're going to have AI that combats AI, and your AI better be better than their AI.
I like
And you
the
have to have
idea.
everything protected against AI.
I want to lose in a fabulous way that inspires people like a martyr.
That's what you want to do?
That's what.
That's
me
why you should be the
personally-
king of Australia.
No, I
That's
mean,
like that should be your speech.
you lose. Yeah, we're going to lose. We're going to lose, and people are going to be they're going to respect how we lose. This is the Christian message of getting defeated, and that's the ultimate victory.
I think it's coming, dude, whether you like it or not. And it's better if we have it than if we don't. If you're Papua New Guinea and the AI overlords come storming into your town, you have no say. It's over.
I don't know. We've tried to have a say over Papua New Guinea a couple times. They're very hard to manage.
Well, that's a very hostile
They're
place.
they're doing their own thing.
That is a very like forbidding jungle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we are. No one wants to talk about it in Australia. Every time I try and talk about Papua New Guinea, at first I didn't know about it. Like racists would come at me at a party with facts. They'd be like, "There's cannibalism in Papua New Guinea." And you go,
Sometimes.
shut up. Yeah, that's right. And then you look it up and you go, "Oh God,
Oh yeah, it's for
there's
real.
a lot of cannibalism."
They probably ate a Rockefeller.
The Kennedys used to go there as well.
Do you know that one Rockefeller
I
kid?
had heard about.
Yeah.
I think the Rockefeller who went, he disappeared though, right?
I think what happened was the first time he went, he insulted them because he wanted something from them. He offered like to give them some money or something for something that they had, and they were like no. And apparently, the article that I'd read was assuming that was some sort of an insult that
Yeah.
he didn't understand. And then when he came back, he got in a boat with them and they stabbed him immediately. And then they brought him back to the shore and they murdered him. And this is from an account of another guy who I think was there. It's a very mysterious case. This guy could be full of shit because it's a very mysterious case. The guy went there before, then he went back and disappeared. But
There are a lot of people who went back. I know there was a Kennedy woman who went there and was like on a mission with people, and she loved them so much she had a piano helicoptered in. She had like a grand piano. She was like she was a rich lady who didn't really understand how things worked, and that if you put a piano in the highlands of Papua New Guinea, you couldn't like maintain that piano.
duh.
But now they're like, just this village has a beautiful old grand piano that definitely doesn't work now. But she was like, I want to give them something.
How long did she live there for?
Years. There was a woman I used to go to church with who said she was there with her.
So don't insult them and they want to eat you. Seems simple.
Yeah, but how do you not insult people?
Over there, you don't. They probably don't
I know
take
people
a good
who've gone
joke.
there. I thought about living there for a while. I thought that would be like.
For real?
I was looking it up. I was seeing if because it's cheaper. So my thought when I was very poor, because it was near Australia, I thought like, yeah, this is rough.
Oh, when they're
And my
having a
thought was
bow
I
and
could
arrow
like
fight?
live in Port Moresby and then just fly in and out and do gigs in Australia.
What year is this? 1964?
1964.
So in 1964, they were having a bow and arrow fight.
I think this is going on to this day.
This says it's actually a tribal war.
Whoa.
They're trying to get them a football team.
See, man, this is what people do. You get people into groups, they do that, even in Papua New Guinea. This is like a testament. Look at that guy's penis.
It's
That's
a
weird.
beautiful.
He's got like a big stick.
But this
on
is
his
also
dick.
they're having a great time.
What's
actually.
going on with his dick?
I don't know.
What is that?
Who are we to judge? They're beautiful.
Is that like
That's a cone over
a cone
penis,
over
I
his
think.
dick?
bigger
Yeah.
one.
They got cones over their dicks.
I've seen people on 6th Street dressed like
Those
that.
guys are ripped. That's the kind of body you get if you just run around and shoot arrows all day. Not a fat one amongst them. Not one lazy motherfucker amongst them.
What is
Every one of
happening
those dudes has to get after it every day. A lot of dongs. Kind of wild that they don't even wear clothes when they do this. And they
What's
just
with that?
close up shooting arrows at each other. This is
there? What the cameraman is just
Getting them
relaxed.
back.
and then you have to turn around and run away.
He's been picking
This
up
is
arrows, they're
so
fucked up.
crazy. These arrows fly.
Have I told you
terrible,
about
too.
my
Look, he's
favorite
got a
ever?
giant
I
handful
don't know
of
if I said it
arrows.
last time I was on. My favorite ever Papua New Guinea video is at the rugby, where the guys storm the pitch. Have I told you about this?
No. I want to watch a little bit more of that,
All
but then
right.
tell me about that. Because I'm fascinated by how shitty their strategy is. I'm like, how did these guys make it this long fighting bow and arrow fights
But this is
like
like
this?
when you read the Iliad or something. This is kind of how people are fighting. That there's like two big masses and then one guy steps forward.
I
and they
understand,
duke
but
it
this
out.
is like really shitty weaponry.
Yeah.
Like, how have they not figured out better weapons? You know? Like, these are terrible bows, and they don't have any feathers on their arrows. Like, those things fly like shit. Like, think of the Mongols in,
Yeah.
the 1200s. They figured out the recurve bow.
Also, like the Maori just went out and got guns. Like they traded for guns. The Indians traded for guns. They didn't.
Well, I guess nobody was bringing guns to Papua New Guinea
But
in
maybe
1964.
They're deciding. They must have because they were involved in World War II. To help
Bro,
us
these
out.
guys hate each other. I guarantee if you gave them ARs with red dots, they would just go running through that field, mowing those motherfuckers
Maybe
down.
they're just having a good time.
Perhaps.
So
Oh, that guy got
his
hit.
penis cone fell off.
No, he got hit.
Yeah.
Did you see? He had blood on his ribs.
This is not. How is
What's
the
that,
cameraman
Jamie?
say?
They're trying to help him in some way. I don't know if he had like splinters stuck in his.
It looked like he
skin
had
or-
blood on the left side of his
Well,
body.
for sure.
Yeah,
but
it
like
wasn't
that whole
good.
little series there was like close up, not
Right.
almost surgery or something.
Oh,
I
what
don't
were
know
they
they're
doing? He might have got stuck a few times, man.
Also, I'm not showing this on the screen because it's
Right.
done.
Copywritten
Yeah,
and
it's
shit.
all sorts of stuff.
All sorts of shit. A lot of dongs too. Yeah, it's like, the thing about places like that is that place has the environment is so hostile.
Yeah.
It's so hostile to survive there for generation after generation after generation. You live a subsistence lifestyle. You live off the land, and everybody has to hunt and gather. And if people come into your side from the other side, these motherfuckers, they're trying to steal your food. You have to go to tribal war. That's how they've been rocking it probably for
We
thousands
don't have to
and
choose
thousands
between
of
that
years.
and AI though. There's a middle path between.
No, you
tribal
can't.
war
Listen,
in the-
you
in
can't
the
stop
scrub.
AI, buddy. You can't stop AI.
I'm hopeful.
No, you gotta.
How many movies did we have to have warning us that it was terrible?
All of them. None of them worked.
I don't think
It
there's
doesn't
one
matter.
movie saying it was a good
It's
idea to have a thinking
inevitable.
robot.
It's inevitable. It's inevitable.
We got.
You just have to accept it. You have to accept it and
I can't do it.
live your life. You can't listen. We don't know what the change is going to be, and I don't really believe that we're going to let it be entirely bad. And I think it's probably better to have something like that than to not when you're dealing with things like, the power grabs that are going on all over the world, where they're trying to lock people up for speech violations. In the UK, it's 12,000 people this year, and they're making people get digital ID, and they're doing all these different things. Like, at a certain point in time, you're gonna benefit from a super intelligence that can rationally explain why this is no way to sustain a civilization.
I would like us to
Isn't
have
that
some
possible?
say over how we implement that.
I would like
because we
to
know,
be able
like,
to tell God what to tell me.
We've got that. He set up a beautiful church.
I know.
All we have to do is
this is
listen.
what you're asking, though.
But like with cars, you can use cars in a way that make a society great. Like if you have but then you can also have cars that like ruin a whole neighborhood and a whole city, and you can't walk anywhere, and it's a big problem.
You
like,
mean leaking oil? Like, what do you mean?
I mean, like just having a freeway that cuts through for no reason, or like not being able to like walk around a downtown.
Oh,
or something.
right.
Like you can use it in a specific. I read the New Polity magazine is what I've been reading on this, where they're like Catholic guys in Steubenville who are like, how can we, to what extent can we choose to use technology in a way that's helpful to us, and how much are we just like absolutely governed by what the technology becomes, and then we have to be subservient to it. Like, do we get to choose how we use technology around us, or are we just...
Why do you assume, though, that we're going to be subservient to it? That's where it gets weird.
Because I think we're subservient to the car. Like, no one wants to live in a... When you see what cars do to certain cities in America, and you go like it's so... When you're in New Orleans and you're walking around, and there's problems with New Orleans, but like you're walking around the French Quarter, which is like designed before cars. It's so... You can have music, you can like run around on the street, and it's like a beautiful, nice place to be compared to like a strip mall when you build it the way people have to live around what the cars are. Do you know what I mean? Like you can have... Like the way that they build a freeway and a weird block of houses next to it, and no one can walk anywhere. Like you just can't get out on your legs anywhere. Or like that seems like you're building it based on the car. You're letting the car be. You make the car have the maximum ease for how it can operate, and you try and live in the shadow of that, rather than going, what's a nice way to live as a person, and how do we use the car to increase our quality of life? Right. Like, can we use AI to make our lives better, or do we have to, like we can do digital IDs?
Well,
should we?
No. Let me ask you, what do you think is like worst case scenario for AI? Like, what are you really genuinely scared of?
Man, it'd be a bunch of things. I don't want to just start with the porno, but certainly the porno spooks me out. The AI porno.
But that's already here.
I think the writing and the ability to write and think and process information, and that's definitely like carved away. Like if you look at kids in schools who are using AI instead of writing an essay, people can't write 5 sentences together because they're not developing the skill. And you don't, if people are getting a degree in something, already people were outsourcing that to people to help them, write an essay or something. But if you get like a Bachelor of Arts is increasingly worthless if AI can do it for you, and then you can say, I know about history.
Right.
So like I think the functionality of education, I'm terrified of that falling apart and people not knowing how to read, which is already disintegrated, sure, but I think this rapidly speeds that up. I mean, I'm afraid of, as like an artist, if I want to go and like make a movie or something, maybe I'm just like old-fashioned and attached to the idea of having a camera and having people act, but it's like I can increasingly see less and less reason that you'd have to do that, and someone wouldn't just write it out and go, this happens in this scene, change that guy's eye. You know what I mean? Like there's something, and more than anything, I get spooked out with the video. And what scares me about the music is I hear the audio AI when you put on the songs, and I go, this is actually very good. This doesn't have an otherworldly quality to it. This is actually just a good song, it sounds like. But when I see the video, I feel like I get the heebie-jeebies on the AI video. Do you get that at all?
Yeah, a little bit.
And I go, who is showing me this? What is the intelligence behind this?
Well, it's a lie, right? That's part of it. But it's like a pretty damn good lie that it's going to get way better at lying. Like, that's pretty good right now. Like, it's like when a 4-year-old lies to you, you're like, wow.
You're
when
bad at
you're
this.
20, you're going to be a con man. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? It's like, it's got a real potential to be something that is, like, I already see disaster videos every day that aren't real. Like, every day I saw, someone sent me, one of those cruise boats going into a giant fucking bridge and all the cars collapsing on top of it. One of those massive cruise ships. It's totally fake. And I can kind of pick it out right away. I was like, I didn't hear about this. This isn't real. I think, no, it's fake. And I'm watching it. I'm like, okay, it's fake.
But it takes a minute. And like a year and a half ago, it didn't get the hands right.
Right. And it's going to be, within a year, you're not going to be able to tell at all. You're going to have no idea. You have no idea. There's so many animal attacks now that are fake. There's so much that's fake. But It's the price that you pay for the advancement and the capabilities of doing things. I think there's still going to be a value that people want to go see a movie that someone made. Just like there's people out there that still going to see live shows. Like live shows will never change. There's a connection that human beings have at live shows. Like Kill Tony we did last night.
Yes.
How fun. So fun. The most fun.
That was one of the best ones that there's been. I think.
Was really fun. But that's a real moment that we all shared together.
Yes.
Like, you can't recreate that with AI. But there's a lot of things you can, and that's just a fact. That's just how it is.
I don't think we can.
You can't change it.
I just want more of that. I want to live in a spontaneous society.
Well, hopefully more
And
people
a town.
will also choose to do something that's in their wheelhouse to do along those lines. As long as you still have a thing that you're trying to work towards, you're going to be okay. Like let's say if the real weird one is universal basic income, because this is Elon is famously said, and I don't know what this even fucking means, but not only will people have universal basic income, it'll be actually universal high income. There'll be enough prosperity that everyone in the country will get a large salary. You will never have to work again. But then the problem is you're completely dependent on the state, if there is a state anymore. Like, what is the state when there's a digital god that you've created in the center of the town that has its own nuclear power plant that's operating everything?
I have no logical rationale for why these things are terrible, but in my soul, it screams out, let's not invent.
Yeah, because you love being a human.
Yes.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
really
yeah.
nice.
And you love literature, and you're an interesting guy. You like a lot of cool music. You love things that people make and create, and you create great comedy. So it makes sense. It makes sense that you feel the way you feel. And I share those feelings, but I'm also a realist. And I'm one of those people that just goes, okay, buckle up. Things are going to get weird, because it's going to get weird. It's going to get weird, and people are going to get super angry. There's going to be a lot of people that they worked really hard to get a job, and that job is completely irrelevant now. It's been taken over.
The job is irrelevant, and then also like being able to just like there's a freedom in being allowed to have a revolution. Mm-hmm. And that's what this country was founded on: is that when things get bad and the people cry out for a new form of government, they can go and get it.
Right.
And I think that chances of anyone in the world having a revolution shot through the floor as soon as they invented robot dogs that could chase you through the street. And I haven't seen the footage of the robot dogs in a couple of years, but I bet they're better than they used to be now.
Oh, yeah.
And it's
They're
like,
real good.
okay, if we have the robot dogs, how is there going to be an effective change of government? Or is that's just it? If you own the robot dogs, no one else is really going to be a threat to you as the ruling class. That's terrifying, that you just have a permanent ossification. Like,
Yes.
you have a set in stone of what the ruling class is going to be, because they've got weapons that no one can challenge them with.
That's worst case scenario, right? And one of the things you have to think is, why would AI let the working or the ruling class decide what it does?
I mean, 'cause
why
they've got
would they
it.
listen? No. At a certain point in time, it's going to be sentient. At a certain point in time, it's going to have its own robots that do its tasks, like different things that have to be built and structured, and different things that have to be designed and engineered. It'll have that.
Yeah.
It'll have robots that work on the material sciences and all these different things. But it'll be a god. It'll be a digital god. It's not going to listen to a person that says arrest people for saying, Muslims shouldn't invade this country. It's not going to be that. It's not going to listen to you. That's the real fear, is that we're no longer going to be the apex predator of the planet. And it's not even going to be a predator, but it's just going to be so.
It could be a predator.
Why would it be?
If it helped it.
The thing, yeah, but why would it? What would if it has any desires at all? If it becomes sentient, the real question is, would it do anything? It might just exist. If it really becomes brilliant and it really becomes all-knowing, it might just exist. It might just say, figure it out on your own.
More than anything, I think I have a religious impulse against this, where this is creating an idol. Right, like this is, Moses comes down and he goes,
Yes.
don't build the golden calf. That's not your God. We're building a very sophisticated golden calf.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I always wonder how much of the stories from the Bible, like especially the Old Testament, like how old are those stories? How long? What was the original thing that they were trying to document?
You got into Enoch in a big way.
Oh God, Rep Luna, same woman. She got me into that too. She said, "Have you never read it?" I said, "No." And I had, seen some passages online that were kind of kooky. I got the audiobook, and when I really want to trip out, when I'm driving to the comedy club, I listen to the Book of Enoch in the car. It's completely bananas.
It's bonkers.
And it could have been included in the Bible. That's what's
It is,
nuts.
in some Bibles, it's in it. The Ethiopians keep
Right.
it in. Yeah.
Yeah, they should have kept it in our Bible too. We would have a completely different version of the creation of man.
I mean, we do. What is it? Who has the wheel within a wheel?
Ezekiel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I sat down. I tried to read Ezekiel a couple months ago.
Oh,
I
it's
couldn't do it. I
bananas.
couldn't wade through it. It was like,
It's
and that made it in.
bananas.
But good luck explaining any of that.
It's either Ezekiel had a UFO encounter or Ezekiel was tripping balls.
Yes.
Well, either one of those things or both of those things together could be true.
I remember I was listening to your podcast, and I forget who you were talking to, but you were talking about hallucinogens and the church. Mm-hmm. And like people having miracles, experiencing visions because they
Yes.
were on something. And I remember thinking like, I think that could be the case, but also how low a stimulus these people had in their everyday life. Like if you're in a field every day, seeing nothing but a field
Right.
for like, and you're not eating very much. And then once a week you go into this dark building and there's candlelight and music and incense and flashing things. That would probably unlock something strange if you had such an
yeah.
understimulated.
Also, a complete belief in
Yes.
what these people are saying.
Yeah.
There was no atheists back then. There was no people that were like, get out of here with all this God shit. Everybody believed.
I think to a greater extent. I think there still would
Yeah,
have
there's
been
probably a few
sardonic
atheists,
people, yeah.
but it's probably way less.
Yeah.
Way less. Like people are proud to be atheists today. There's a strange pride.
There's less of them. 10
There's
years
less of
ago, they were riding high.
Did you ever
They
see?
won every debate. They were so proud, and
Well,
then
that
they
was
just
like
went away.
Sam Harris. He was really good at that, and Christopher Hitchens was really
He was
good
the
at
man.
that too. Yeah, both those guys were really good at shutting down religious ideas. But I think there's actually a religious style of thinking involved in atheism. And I know a lot of people who used to be atheists that had psychedelic experiences that gave up on any of that and said, okay, I don't know. I think there's something else. And I don't know what it is. And I'm not going to say that there's no God.
Well, even Christopher Hitchens, I don't want to misrepresent him and people get angry at me, but he was not, I think his real views were closer to being agnostic than being an atheist.
Well, I think
He used atheist as a lot, but when you read him, he goes, oh, the universe is so incredible and there's so much out there and I don't know. And I don't think these particular things are true. But he didn't discount the possibility that there was a sublime.
Of course. No, he was a very rational guy.
Yeah.
He just really hated religious zealotry, and he really hated justifications for wars. I mean, he was one of the harshest critics of Bill Clinton ever. Like, that guy was
He did get behind Iraq, though,
He did.
and he stuck with it for a long time.
He did, unfortunately.
But
That's
have you
just how,
seen-
it's like there's a lot of people that got caught up in that. They really did believe that was a good idea. Especially post September 11th, there was
Yeah.
a lot of people that really believed that this had to be done in order to protect us. Man, it's like with everything, you find out more behind the scenes stuff and what was really going on with Kuwait and why did Iraq invade Kuwait in the first place? Why did we go back to Iraq after we've been gone for so long? It's like, oh, there's so much shenanigans.
Yeah.
Like always shenanigans. No one is great. Everyone is, when Russell Crowe was here, your countryman, the great and powerful
I
Russell
never
Crowe.
got to meet him, but I want to
Love
ask him so many questions.
Next time he's in town, I'll have,
Please.
yeah, well, you're going to be in your fucking shitty country.
I'll be back. I'll come back to meet Rusty. I want to ask him about when he met Azalea Banks and they got
By the
into
way,
a scrap.
I do not think Australia's shitty. I love Australia. I'm just fucking
Man,
around.
some of the things happening at the moment are
The
making me very
laws,
upset.
yeah, the
there's,
laws.
there's social media banned for
The
under
people
16s.
are fucking awesome. I love Australian people. I've had more fun in Australia than almost any other country I visited. Fucking love it there. They're fun. They know how to party. They're generally
It's
friendly.
true.
Yeah.
I think we love not having to pay attention. Like that's one of our freedoms. It's just to don't bother me, leave me alone, make me feel safe.
Right.
And so when there is a thing like this shooting, we just want to go, well, take care of it.
Right.
Get rid of the problem.
Right, and then the problem is guns. Go get the guns. No, the problem is people willing to use the guns because if people only have knives, then they'll run around,
Which
stab
they do-
people.
Or, if you have access to a car, you
Yeah.
can drive through people. Like this is
The problem is people.
Yeah.
And the problem is also you can't have defenseless cops. You can have cops that don't have guns. Your cops have to have guns.
I think there was like a chubby detective who took the shot, who got it done, and he was standing like 40 yards away. He was a long way away with a pistol.
Oh boy.
And that
Hope
is
he had a red dot.
No, he was.
Really?
It's like he's wearing a white shirt. I think
Oh,
there's a
hope he
great photo
practiced.
of him.
Sounds like
He was ready to
got
go.
it. Do you have a rifle? Do you show him with a rifle or a pistol?
Pistol.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was like. I think I'm getting this right. I'm seeing it all through.
Oh, social media.
Not being there is weird. I have no idea what the vibe is in the country right
The thing is, like, they're never going to give you the guns back. It's never going to happen. Like, they're going to try to take them more and more and more. And once you let them have any, it's just normal, man. When people get some control over you, they want ultimate control. When they have a little bit of power, they want maximum power.
Yes.
And it's just the game they're playing.
But I think we don't love freedom the way Americans love freedom.
Yeah, it's
I do.
unfortunate.
I think I stick out, and it's weird. But we actually, like, we don't have a freedom of speech law, and people seem really calm about that. People go like, it's good not to have proper freedom of speech because we can make everyone cohere and be together. And they're happy with that, and they're comfortable with that, by and large. I mean, you wouldn't tolerate that here for a second.
It's not good. It's just not good for him because it depends on who's in power. You have the best people that have ever lived are in power, and then there's benevolent, beautiful people that only want a cooperative, healthy society. They figured out how to do it, but no one's figured out how to do that. So stop.
I don't know. Sometimes I look at the Japanese.
They've got it down.
I stay up late and I watch Japanese videos of just the streets of Japan when they're walking around and they're on their little vending machines.
Super
and they're in a
polite.
bath. So
Everyone's
polite.
like,
they can't have children, but they're very happy otherwise.
that's a problem.
No one's breeding.
No one.
I can't. You've bred. I'm breeding. But in general, the birth rate has collapsed.
Well,
And the Japanese are worse than
the
anybody,
Japanese
I
have it
think.
real bad. South Korea has it real bad too.
South Korea is down to like half a child per lady.
It's something crazy like that. Yeah. Is it because they became career obsessed? Is that what it is? Like what?
My friend Eve lived there for a while, and she was telling me about what's happened with the feminist movement there. And like heaps of women are swearing off of men. They go, this is our duty to feminism is to never be in a relationship with a man.
Do you know that was one girl that couldn't get fucked that started off for all the other
She was
girls?
very
she was a
charismatic,
hater.
though. She was a gal's
She was
gal.
a hater, and she was mad that nobody wanted to fuck her. So it's like, no, we're gonna say no to all
It worked.
men.
It worked. I mean, you've got a bunch of kids.
Yeah.
I enjoy having them. We're about to have the fourth one. And I know some people who have, like people I went to school with, it's now dawning on me that that's weird that I've had children and that most people will have one in my cohort or none. Like I just thought at some point I was starting a bit early, but I'm seeing my generation just, the numbers are panning out and people are not having any kids. And you get to a certain age and you go, oh, that's it. I guess you're not ever, it's a part of life that you've decided not to experience. And I don't know if it's people want to be in control. They want to have enough money before they start having kids. They want to have be set up nicely. Or if
Some people don't want to have kids.
A lot of people.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I really don't.
Sure.
This is my opinion. I think you can have a full and fulfilling and wonderful life without children. I do not think that everyone's the same. I do not think that I should ever be able to tell you what's right or what's wrong when you're not hurting anybody. You're not hurting anybody by not having any kids.
But I think there are a lot of people who'd like to have kids who are not having, or think like, I'll get
Well,
to
there's
that
a lot
at
of
some
men
point.
that don't want to commit, and then a lot
Yeah.
of ladies that stick with them, and then there's ladies that want a career, and maybe they wait too long.
Yes.
And there's a lot of factors. There's a lot of also environmental factors that are dropping men's sperm count, increasing miscarriages. This microplastics are a real issue.
I do think that thing about staying with a lady too long is, I'll say this for Leonardo DiCaprio. He releases them. It's something
Gets rid of
kind
them at
about
25.
that. 25.
Yeah.
He
Bye-bye.
goes, I'm not going to take these very precious years away from you.
I don't think that's what he's doing.
I think he's a good man. I think he's a kind man.
He just likes them young. He likes them young, which would be great if he was a woman. So if he was a woman, if he was a 50-year-old woman and he
Yeah.
only banged 25-year-old guys and he looked, or she rather looked hot for a 50-year-old like
Yeah.
he does for a 50-year-old man, who cares?
There is this
No one
weird.
would care.
There's a weird thing happening with women in this country where if a man dates a woman slightly younger than them, he's accused of being a pedophile. Like a man will be dating
Right.
a 27-year-old. He'll be like 40 dating a 27-year-old lady, and people go, "How fucking dare you?" And you go,
Right. Right.
I think that's got to be allowed. I think you've got to, I mean, that man last night that was a bit spooky. The gay man who had the
Why was that spooky?
because he was in his 40s and his lover was
In his 20s.
yeah. But then when did the relationship start?
5 years ago?
Okay.
Isn't that what he said?
I'm going to have to do some maths.
No, maybe he said 10. 10 years ago.
I got to do some maths on. People definitely
Yeah.
breathed in the room.
Yeah, but it's a guy. So he dated
That
a
is true.
20-year-old guy when he was
No,
whatever.
I think we should let young gay men develop. I don't know.
Let them do whatever the fuck they want to do. If you're an 18-year-old man and you've decided you're gay and you live with a 50-year-old gay man, who gives a shit?
I don't think the state should get involved in that.
I don't think the state should get involved. I don't think anybody should get involved once you're 18. But in that situation, it is different. You look at it differently than say if it was like when the ages get up. Like say if someone's 20 and they're dating a 25-year-old, normal. You know what you like.
Yep.
You know he's 20. But if you're 20, you're dating a 60-year-old, or you're 20, you're dating a 70-year-old.
Yeah.
Like things get really weird. You know, that's when things get really weird. It's like, what's going on here? Like, why are you dating this 27-year-old? Be like, why wouldn't you date a 27-year-old? Yeah, I would, but I'm 35. That's normal. Why are you, the 70-year-old, dating the 27? Because she's willing.
Yes.
Because she's willing. Is she not a grown woman? She is, right? Okay, what are we doing here? You're mad. You're mad that the age gap is so wide. Like,
What
why
makes
is
you
that?
feel?
There
who's
you go.
This?
Wow.
Oh,
Jamie,
Bill.
how dare you?
Well, Bill's
how
made a
dare you
mistake.
bring that
Bill's
up,
made a mistake.
bro? He wins. He win. Put that picture back up.
Well, team's not winning.
He wins in a huge way. I don't give a fuck what he has to do. I don't care if he makes her the head of his charity, whatever. She's hot as fuck. Let's go. She's 24. How old is he?
70, maybe 70.
He wins. Okay? He wins. It's worth it. Whatever he has to do, whatever mockery yes, it is.
I remember when I came to this country.
73.
He was a severe man who people were afraid of.
Listen to me. He
had
wins.
credibility.
He still does.
No, now he's doing
He's a
weird
little-
photo shoots on the beach.
Hey, you got to do what you got to do. But listen, he gets to fuck her. He wins.
There's got to be.
Listen, it's a deal. They got a deal. He's fishing. He caught a mermaid. Great.
Good job.
Imagine that photo shoot. That's her idea. This poor guy, he wants to go drink martinis,
No.
hang out at the beach.
There's something about having gravitas that no amount of having sex with a mermaid woman can. I would rather
Gravitas by
have
yourself,
the gravitas.
sitting there with a cigar and a whiskey,
Yes.
looking cool, hard dick.
How long do you need to be able to have sex for? I'm waiting for it to go away. At some point, I'm not going to take the blue chew when it starts to disappear. I'm happy. Honestly,
You say that now.
I do say it
You
now.
say that now, you
Let
dirty
me
little
go.
freak. You're
Set
such
me
a-
free
you're
of
such
the
a
sex
dirty freak.
impulse. I'm sick of it.
You're lying.
I am not lying. If I get to be 70 and I cannot get an erection, I will say, this is okay. I can do other things with my time again.
You definitely can. Yeah, but it'll also mean a decrease in your vitality as a human being, which is not fun because it
No.
leads to depression. You're going to be tired all the time. It's all connected, buddy.
There's got to be a way to have a fulfilling life and not be horny constantly. Now,
Of
I haven't
course.
found that, but I'm sure it's out there.
Of course. There certainly is. There's a lot of people that are completely asexual and they have a fine life.
I don't trust them, though. No, it's always weird. But I think it's Buñuel who has a line about like, maybe it's Plato. I don't know, but it's like when I got older and I wasn't horny anymore. It was like I was unshackled from a madman.
Right. Well, who was it Tesla that did that? Okay. There was some references to Tesla in quotes destroying his manhood because he had gotten some sort of infatuation with a woman at one point in time and it apparently was ruining his life. So this is a weird thing about Tesla. There's a lot of like fake stories about him. You know, so it's hard to separate the wheat from the
Yeah,
chaff.
but people,
you know what I mean?
wheat from the shaft.
But
No
he did fall in love with a pigeon.
Okay.
Tesla had a pigeon that he loved dearly.
People don't bring that up when they said he had a limitless source of energy that he had access to. They don't also go, and he fell in love with a pigeon and it made him destroy his penis.
No, I think the woman made him destroy his. I don't know if what he did. You know, he might have taken something to like chemically castrate him. They used to do that to pedophile priests.
Yeah.
They'd give them like saltpeter to keep them from being. I don't know. You know what
I know,
saltpeter
no,
is?
I don't know saltpeter, but I know about the castration of people.
Yeah, that too. So I mean, maybe he personally castrated.
What is
himself.
saltpeter?
Oh, it's something that they used to give priests to keep them from getting horny. I don't know what it is. It like would kill their desires. What is it called? It's called saltpeter. I think it like spelled Peter.
I was just looking. Before I get to that, Nikola Tesla reportedly died a virgin.
Yeah. So that lady that he was infatuated with, probably the first time he got rock hard.
Saltpeter's potassium nitrate.
He was using his energy for other things.
He definitely was.
He was having a fulfilling life.
And he definitely is doing well, was doing well doing that. Like, that probably would have stolen a lot of resources from his inventing. And so, what is salt? Can you put saltpeter up so we can see what it does?
Nitrate. I don't know.
Let's see what it does here. Saltpeter, primarily potassium nitrate, a natural mineral historically crucial for gunpowder, but also used today as a fertilizer, food preservative, curing meats, and for sensitive teeth and asthma relief. It's a source of nitrogen mined from caves or made by mixing nitrates, and while once believed an aphrodisiac, it's a myth, though its curing role is real. Aphrodisiac?
Yeah, that's the opposite of what you want.
Right. No,
You don't want to take a
please
pedophile
put into
priest and give him-
perplexity. Where does the story, or where does the issue with saltpeter and priests come from? Like, where does that story come from? Because I remember hearing that when we were kids, that they would take a pedophile priest and they'd give him saltpeter, and we're like, what? The myth associating saltpeter with suppressing priest sexual urges stems from medieval and Renaissance beliefs. That's how old I am, son. When I was a kid, they were
buy
talking
into
in
this.
medieval and Renaissance beliefs, in alchemy and folk medicine. During that era, saltpeter was prescribed in mineral baths or potions as an infallible cure for victims of love potions. Oh, it was the cure of love potion. You got hit with a love potion, alongside substances like alum, antimony, and sulfur. This notion evolved into broader folkloric claims of its anaphrodisiac properties. Never seen that word before. Later applied to institutions like militaries, prisons, and monasteries, though no historical evidence ties it specifically to priests' food. So here's the thing: if it gives you nitrogen and it like thought of as an aphrodisiac,
You don't want to give that to a pedophile.
right? Is that
the one
like,
thing
did the
you-
pedophiles trick them? Did they trick them and say, you know what? If
Gas-
you give me this, it'll kill my dick?
Gas
Meanwhile, it's
station
like it's their
That's the
gas
only
station
cure.
boner pills.
Do you know on the like medieval medicine, they were still bleeding people until like the 1870s.
Oh yeah.
I was reading about that this week.
Some famous person. That's how he died. Was it George Washington? Wasn't it?
They bled him too much.
I think George Washington like insisted on them bleeding him more than the physician had advised.
Bloodletting?
Bloodletting. Yeah. Wasn't it George Washington? Shane knows a lot about Washington.
That's like, he hasn't done it yet, but if ever he decides to do a long form podcast on the Civil War,
He should do a
That will
long form
be-
podcast on history. Period. I was telling him that. Oh, and his death involved extensive bloodletting. George Washington, a common 18th century medical practice that likely hastened his demise from a throat infection. The query George Washington bloodletting appears to be a
I
misspelling.
typed it too fast.
No worries. Bloodletting practice. Doctors bled. Why did they include that in AI? AI is correcting you.
Yeah.
They're fucking with you.
no, it looks like you've fucked up. there,
Relax.
Looks
Jenny.
like AI is kind of fucking with you a little. Doctors bled Washington multiple times on December 14th, 1799, removing about 80 ounces, roughly 40% of his blood volume. Imagine they thought it was a good idea to take your blood out while you're dying.
But like for hundreds of years they were doing it.
Fuck.
And maybe it does have some benefits that I should look into.
I doubt it.
Yeah.
She's got a throat infection. They take your blood out. Imagine the days when they hadn't figured out antibiotics yet. Oh.
Well, we get to enjoy them for. I mean, at some point they'll stop working, right? Like we'll get.
Some of them. I mean, there's resistant strains of MRSA. You know, MRSA is staph infection that you can't cure with antibiotics. It's very dangerous. When people get it, I've had friends that got it. It's horrific. It eats holes in your body. I had a buddy of mine who had it done on his knee. His whole knee, like he was at the hospital, and he sent me a picture of them, what they had done to his knee. They'd split his knee open down the middle. They pulled it open to clean it all out and disinfect it. It was so insanely infected
Yeah.
from this medical resistant staph infection. So he was on an IV drip 24 hours a day. He stayed in the hospital for weeks for this fucking infection.
But we
that he
didn't
got.
have that kind of staph infection before
Right.
antibiotics.
Right, it's a major cause of death in this country.
Yeah. And in the food, right? Like it's in the meat.
What is?
Antibiotics. Like we feed I remember someone saying like that's the real problem is that we're giving it to like the cows. We just put it in their feed.
Well, I think the reason they do it, supposedly, there's a lot of like if you get an organic steak, grass-fed, organic, most people believe that that is the healthiest version of beef because that's an animal that's not being given any hormones, not being given any antibiotics, and is eating grass, which is what they're supposed to. Now, when they eat corn, sometimes they get these like weird abscesses and they get like problems digesting. It's not natural food for cows. That's why they get so fat. Like the reason why they get that marbling, that's they're fucking dying.
What?
Like we're giving them terrible food and their meat tastes different.
They're like Wagyu beef. They're feeding them beer, I think.
Oh, bro, they're barely alive.
Yeah.
When you see that beautifully marbled piece of Wagyu
That's a
beef,
very sad animal.
that's a very depressed animal. They depressed the fuck out of that thing before it died.
I didn't realize they were not feeding cows grass for like
yeah.
until I was in the grocery store and they had like this is grass-fed
Mm-hmm.
milk. It's like, well, what the fuck's the other one?
Corn.
This is news to me.
Yeah. It's interesting because I was reading this thing about certain pasture-raised eggs that you get that are really bright orange.
Yeah.
And you think, oh, this is a really healthy egg. But what actually was going on was they were feeding the chickens turmeric and they were feeding the chickens a bunch of things that affected the color of their eggs. And these eggs were high in vegetable oils because I think I don't remember what acid it is. Alpha lipoic. What is it? No, that's a supplement. Whatever it is. They were realizing that the chickens were eating mostly grain.
Yeah.
And then they were making it look like they were eating all these insects, which is usually what you get when you get a chicken that has like a real rich, like a natural raised chicken.
If it's just
that has
out in
a
the
rich
field
orange yolk. That thing's eating bugs and all kinds of stuff. That's what it's supposed to eat. So they were like pretending by giving these chickens turmeric that would make their yolk like a really bright orange, and then they were giving them corn. So they were pretending these chickens were running around in a pasture, but they were just dumping a pile of things to get them fat as quick as possible, and then feeding them some fairy dust that makes their eggs
This is
the
in the
right
same
color.
thing as AI for me, where I just want to be in a field, in a cottage. And that's my chicken over there. And I know where it is. It's I know one day I'll kill that chicken and we'll eat it as a family.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that. Living on a farm, especially like a small individual farm, is probably a very harmonious way to live in nature.
But
know?
you do have to make a lot of money to, like, you have to really thrive in the system to go and get that now.
Isn't that crazy? Because that used to be the way poor people lived.
Yeah. I yearn to live like a poor person.
I think
150 years
it's
ago.
harmonious for human beings to live like that. Everybody that I know that lives like that will kind of tell you that it seems right. And I think people lived like that for so long. I think it feels normal for them. And they're totally self-sustaining as opposed to someone who just relies on these trucks to keep showing up at the grocery store.
I mean, also, like, at some point, I know RFK came in with, like, trying to do a lot of things to improve the food. And I don't know how many are going through it. But at some point, people will get sick enough, I think. You have to have some sort of change. I mean, my wife has become gluten-free since coming to America. Because she's become gluten, like she had gluten her whole life. Mm-hmm. Something in the wheat here. I don't know what they're doing to it.
A lot of things.
It's not good.
Well, one of the things is the excessive use of glyphosate. Glyphosate is in a lot of different things. The other things, there's a bunch of
It's like a
different
pesticide?
chemicals. Mm-hmm. There's a bunch of different chemicals that they put into modern bread. What was it? Bromine? Is that one of them? There's a guy who we played a video of him breaking it down. Remember that video, Jamie? About what's wrong with bread in America? See if you can find that. It's very enlightening because it's one of those things you realize like, oh, this is all to make it shelf stable so it stays good forever, and they've made more complex glutens in the wheat because that way you get a higher yield per acre, and they've all made it so it creates all this intolerance. Like you get gut inflammation if you eat too much of it. You feel terrible. Like, oh,
Well, like, it was the only thing people would eat. You would just eat bread. You'd get a loaf of bread for the week, and you'd have whatever meat you could have next to it. Mm-hmm. And you'd be, but, like, surely we don't need that at this point. Like, we can have.
The problem is industrial agriculture is kind of taken over in this country. And if you want to make money, that's really kind of the only way to make money, farming. It's really difficult to run a regenerative farm and have it be, like, really profitable the way these enormous like industrial farming situations are. You're not supposed to have monocrop agriculture. Like, that's crazy. You're not supposed to have 1,000 acres of corn just growing together. That's kooky. Like, no one has that in the wild. That's not normal. So there's supposed to be genetic diversity. It's supposed to be animals shitting everywhere. It all feeds into each other. That's what they do in regenerative farms, but their yield is so much lower than a farm that stacks all the pigs into a warehouse and has them shit into a lake.
I have seen the weird little tunnels where they put the pigs into. It's not nice.
It's disgusting. It's disgusting.
But then...
But that's how you get Jack in the Box on every corner. That's how you feed 1 million people that aren't growing anything other than weed.
We don't want to lose Jack in the Box.
You don't. No, I'm not suggesting you lose Jack in the Box or any of these places. But I'm just saying that we've kind of painted ourselves into a corner where you have no one working in food production.
Yeah.
You have a small amount of people in these cities that even understand where their food is coming from. Everybody's just assuming it's going to show up. You're going to go to the nice restaurant, you sit there and you have a filet mignon and a glass of wine. You have no idea where anything came from, and you don't have to. But that's a luxury that most people don't realize is a luxury until something like the pandemic happens and everything shuts down. And then you go, oh, no food's coming in. Oh, where do we get food? Oh, my God, we have to learn how to hunt.
This is like the AI hope, right? Is that it takes care of all the... Like, we can we can have superabundance and we can return to an organic,
well, the first thing I would say to
living.
AI is, how do you fix crime-ridden cities? How do you do that? How do you do that ethically?
You may not like the answer it gives you.
Well, I don't want it to give
It
me
might say there are
evil
men
answer.
with hoods.
Here it is. Let's play this.
No problem. What? I was gluten-free in 15 years. I've been gluten-free in Canada, America. Can't eat it.
That's because in America, what we call bread can't even be considered food in parts of Europe. See, here in America, it's not so much the gluten as what we've done to the grain. About 200 years ago, we started stripping the bran and germ, or the fiber and nutrients, to make flour shelf stable, also nutritionally dead. Because the nutrients were gone, we enriched it with folic acid, which a large majority of the population can't even metabolize, therefore many people experience fatigue, anxiety, hyperactivity, and inflammation. But then the bread wasn't white enough, so they bleached it with chlorine gas, and the bread didn't rise enough, so they added a carcinogen called potassium bromate, which is banned in several countries like Europe, the UK, and even China. Then we wanted to ramp up production, so we started using glyphosate to dry out the wheat before harvest, causing endocrine disruption and damaging your gut. So now you're bloated, brain fogged, tired, and blame gluten, but gluten is just the scapegoat. The real issue is ultra-processed, chemically altered, bleached, bromated, fake vitamin-filled wheat soaked in glyphosate. This isn't bread. This is.
I need some.
That's it.
I like that they had Sweet Dreams playing in the background there. Yeah, I mean, I will look, when I'm back in Australia, I will look forward to having normal bread, human
That's
bread.
so fucked up. So fucked
You
up.
gotta
that
escape
they've
to
done
get the
that
nice
to our
bread.
food. It's the same thing that they've done to our governmental systems. Same thing. It's like money. Money gets in. These whores. They ruin it all.
Yeah, you got, I mean...
Whores!
You like, it's okay. Money is also great.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not against money.
You shouldn't
but
be.
I'm a little bit against money.
Are you? In what way?
I don't want to make decisions in my life about what would result in having more money. You've got to be able to provide for your family. But I think you see enough people in this business sell out, and people have really lost the language of selling out. Like, it's gone. Like in the 90s, everyone, that guy's a fucking sellout. That guy's doing, you do the wrong sort of music on an album and people would accuse you of selling out. So I'm not advocating for that. But like, I mean, there are people out there doing ads for things that it's nuts that they're getting away with it. Like people who do, like rich guys who are doing gambling commercials. And I don't mind gambling. I'm open to gambling. I enjoy gambling.
We do
but it's
gambling
like,
commercials. We do gambling commercials on this podcast.
and I may be open to doing it myself in the future. But when I do see
We do DraftKings.
Samuel, I don't even mind that as much. I
But
mind
why is
like,
it different than Samuel Jackson reading for a gambling
I
website?
don't know DraftKings enough, but there are things like in Australia we've got Bet365, which is like they've turned it into a social media app / gambling software.
Okay.
So it's where you go to socialize and gamble at the same time, and that does give me a strong ick factor.
Yeah.
Like if you're
Russell was
building-
talking about that, the problem in Australia with gambling as
Yeah,
well.
I don't see anything when I look at bookie apps in America and things. It's just like I'd like to put a bet on that, and I get money if it wins and not if it loses. We're in a more strange, advanced. We've been doing it for a bit longer, and it's further down the line. And
DraftKings has all that kind of stuff where you could bet on weird prop bets.
yeah, and
There's
you can do
weird
multi
things.
bets and things like that. But
Yeah.
I don't think it has affected the character of men in this country the same way that
'Cause
it's done in Australia.
We have more freedom. You guys are little children over
It's
there.
also our only outlet.
Yeah, that's what I'm
is
saying.
gambling. Like, I think we out-gamble Singapore. We're number one in the world per capita. No, we put you to shame. But, like,
It's
you guys
usually
can
a sign
handle
of
it.
people in distress.
Gambling?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
The country's in distress. That's why you guys have a gambling problem.
I mean, we really have a fucking huge gambling problem.
It's
Like-
that bad? It's really that bad?
It's just, it makes it hard to have a conversation with a guy.
Really?
Look at,
72.8% of Australian adults gambled within the previous 12 months. 80.5% for men and 66.2% for women.
Look at losses per
38%
capita.
of Australian gambled at least once per week. 48% of men and 28% for women.
28% for women. When you see a woman who's betting on sports, something inside of you goes, what are you doing?
Having fun.
This is our horrible thing.
No, let the ladies
Also,
fuck up too.
I have been to your pokey rooms in America. That's what we call them. Like at a
Pokey
casino.
rooms?
We call them pokey rooms.
Pokey?
Yeah, the pokies.
Like the raw fish?
You're like
bowl?
poking. No, you're like poking on the machine all the time. That's why we call them the pokies.
Oh.
But like in America, you'll be at a casino and the floor has all these fruit machines.
Pokies.
Yeah, but like people are still like smiling and talking to each other. In every pub in Australia, there's like a back room where sad, twisted old people are just like sitting in front of a machine for
Yeah.
hours.
You get that in Vegas too. It's just extracting
I did see
money.
it there. Yeah.
It's sucking
And it's the
your
bright
attention
lights
in
and the
there
noises.
and extracting money, and it makes your dull life a little bit more exciting.
20% of the world's slot machines are in Australia.
Yeah.
Yo, you guys
Yeah.
are buck wild.
No, it's.
That's
and
how
also-
they keep you broke.
I'm against it, but also, yeah, if I've had a couple of drinks and it's a Friday night, I'll go and play the Indian Dreaming.
Well, here's the thing: you're smart enough to not get fully addicted to playing those machines, but not
I
everybody
think
is.
it's a smart thing. I think I have enough going on in my life. Definitely.
right.
If, with the there are smarter people than me who have been lost to it.
But that's all it, right? Like you don't need a distraction. Your distraction is the thing you're enjoying in your life.
Yeah.
You've got a lot of things going on in your life. You don't want to do that,
If I wasn't doing stand-up and if I didn't have a loving family.
and you had a shitty job.
Oh, man, when I did have a shitty job, I was door-to-door salesman and I was buying the scratch-off cards every day. Every single day
Yep.
I would buy them.
Yep.
And I didn't know why I was doing it at first. And it's
Hoping
like,
to hit.
well, I'm knocking on people's doors and trying to give them cable television when they don't want it. I am going to need a little something to help. Oh, man, I think I started drinking in the afternoons.
Really? Because you hated it?
I hated it. It made me loose when I went to knock on the doors and try and give. They would take us out to like the worst remote communities because they'd go, these people will buy. They like the nastier the neighborhood, the more people are likely to buy from a salesman. The less they have in their life. You'd try and go to a middle class neighborhood, no one would talk to you. You'd go out to weird remote poverty, and boy, I sold a lot of cable television.
Really?
Yeah.
Was it dangerous?
Yeah. There were because you're knocking on the doors of like, I went up to Port Augusta in the worst neighborhoods there. This is like hours and hours away from a major city. And the company I was doing it for like said, we looked up the poverty statistics and we're sending you to the worst possible places because you'll sell more there. Man, no, people were, I remember there was an Irish lady who got attacked who was working with us. I don't think I had like weird things happen where you'd have to go into someone's house and there'd be like weird stuff on the floor. I went into one person's house and there was a woman passed out on the floor bleeding. And they were all just like, she's fine. Don't worry about her. It's like, all right, well,
Where was she bleeding from? What part?
her head.
What?
Yeah, she was apparently all right, but she was passed out. I don't know what happened.
What do you mean, all right? She's bleeding from her head, and she's
Small. It wasn't like a huge amount of blood, but she was on the floor and there was blood.
and they just assumed she was okay?
I made it out of there quick smart. They were like, she's fine. Don't you worry about it. I don't know why this is coming back to me now. I haven't thought about that in about 10 years.
Did you think that maybe they hit her? And then maybe you were a witness to it? Or maybe they killed her and they were going to have to kill you?
I don't know why this is dribbling out of me now. I definitely saw her. She had a beard. I remember. And she was they were very calm about it. They were relaxed and they wanted to keep having a conversation about buying the cable television and how that would let them watch the football. And that she was okay and I wasn't to worry about her. And I think I got out of there and kept knocking on people's doors. I don't think I called anybody.
Whoa.
Sorry. I didn't know where that was buried.
Maybe she's fine. Maybe she's a drama queen.
Well, you also
Maybe
saw
she
it.
hit her head on purpose and then fell down.
I mean,
and
I was
pretended
seeing
she
a
got
lot
hurt.
of passed out people in
Lot
the
of
streets there. Drunks and drugs and yeah.
Did you ever almost get robbed or anything?
I don't think I got threatened. There was a guy who was having sex one time and was very unhappy that I kept knocking on his door, and I thought he was going to hit me. But that was about as bad as it got.
Did he come out with his dong hanging out?
He was grabbing his pants in a weird way. His lady had been at home, and she said, "Come back when my husband's home at this time, and then he can decide if he's going to buy it." And then I came back right at that time, and I think he just got right home and started. Right now, let's do it. And then we go, get the fuck out of. Australian men being angry we go into a new gear of like lack of control.
Well, it's a prison population originally.
And we like that.
Do
We
you
don't
guys
want
like
to be
that?
free. We want a nice warden who's going to take care of it for us.
But you don't.
No,
don't
there are
want
many
that?
things that are upsetting me about going back.
You got to become king of Australia going back.
If they'll have me, I'm thinking of running for the Senate.
You might win.
I've got policy. The Senate's more winnable in Australia because they
Are
send
you
like
seriously thinking about running for the Senate?
we have like 12 people from each state. One day, it's my fantasy.
Really?
In each state, there's like 12 people who get to be the senator from there. So and in a double dissolution, you only need like 8% of the vote to get into the Senate. Wow. And if you're in a small state, that's not a huge number of people. So we get wacky people going to the Senate. And it effectively has the same job that the American Senate has. Like, it's a huge amount of power, and you get to veto things, you get to do inquiries into stuff. Yeah, we've had Pauline Hanson is there at the moment. She's been there for a while. We had Jackie Lambie for a long time. We get nutty, interesting people in the Senate. It's the only bit where a bit of life and color gets into our politics. Because we've got, our house, our lower house is not as exciting as yours. You get more. You get, what's it, Jasmine Crockett?
Yeah.
You get Jasmine Crockett's in your parliament.
You guys don't
as,
get-
not as much. We vet
How
it.
locked down is politics in Australia?
So locked down.
yeah.
And it's not first. You guys vote, and you just go first past the post. And if you get, if someone gets 50% of the vote, that's it. They've got it. We do ranked voting, so it's like you put in six. There's 6 people. You put them in order, and then like kind of the least bad one, the one that the least number of people dislike, gets in. So you get really boring people. And also the parties don't primary. And I keep talking about how this is great in America. You're like the only country that does this.
Well, that was why it was a real problem that the Democrats didn't do it.
They didn't do it for the
They really
presidency.
didn't do it legitimately
But
since 2016.
but on a local
right?
level, someone
Even
like
2016 it wasn't legit,
AOC
right?
can get in to be her.
Sure.
Like even that level of public involvement is globally unheard of.
Right.
No one else is doing that, I don't think.
Right. Fetterman, those kind of people.
Fetterman should not. Like, you just look on a paper, there's no way the Democrats wanted him to be their guy. There's no way the people in charge of that party said, I think this is a guy who's going to toe the party line.
Well, I think once he got in, he became much more aware of how corrupt the system was. Like, talking to him was interesting. He's a very nice guy, by the way. Like, a real, genuine nice guy. And I've run into him in other places. I ran into him at the inauguration. He was wearing a Carhartt hoodie and shorts at the inauguration. I'm not bullshitting. I gave him a big hug. He's a sweet guy, like a genuinely sweet guy. And I think he got into that system and is like, hey, this is not what I like. That guy's been doing like charity work his whole life.
Yeah.
He's like a genuinely good person. And he got into it and he's like, this is not what I signed up for. This whole thing is fucking crazy. Like,
When he also had the brain thing happen before.
Had a stroke.
And then
Yeah.
I watched that debate that he won. Like, I don't know how bad. Is it Dr. Oz that he was up against?
yes.
That's got to hurt when you go up against a guy who temporarily can't talk at all.
Yeah. Well, he has a struggle communicating, but I don't think the struggle.
It's way better now.
Yes. But I don't think the struggle is a thinking thing. I think it's a communication thing. And it's also like he loses track of what you just said. So like he has to have an iPad. So the iPad listens to what you're saying, translates it, writes it out, dictates it, and then he looks to it occasionally.
Okay.
He's like, I'm sorry, what did you ask me? And then I'll have to repeat the question. But it's not that he's not there.
Yeah.
It's just there's a misfiring. But when it fires correctly, he's very reasonable. He's very rational, very smart guy. And I think a really good guy. And I think he opened up a lot of people's eyes like, well, it is possible for someone to get in on either side and just be rational and just have rational positions on things and saying, I'm not going to just vote the way everybody votes because I don't agree with that. I think there's a much more nuanced view of the world. And so a lot of people like on the right like him. because he broke party lines, you know?
I remember there was like Obama came in and tried to do that immediately when he was a senator, and I was reading a thing about how like people just took him aside and said, "You absolutely don't fucking do that. You have to stop doing that now. Okay, we want you to be the future of this party. Shut up." But there must be huge pressures on people not to be individuals there.
There was huge pressures on Tulsi Gabbard to not even communicate with people on the other side. She would like bring them cookies and shit and just be not. She's like she's a sweet lady. She just wanted to be friends with everybody, and they were like, "We don't do it that way."
I mean, John McCain seemed to do a lot of weird. He would hang out. He would be on both sides of the aisle. People liked him. There are a couple of individuals.
Yeah, there's a couple individuals that have made like little crossovers, you know, a little bit, and you know.
You could ban the party system. I'd be open to that.
Well, you need more than two. That's the real problem.
Yeah.
The real problem is there's only two legitimate ones. If you vote libertarian, you're essentially voting protest. You're saying fuck these guys.
Yeah.
You know,
and the Green Party.
I've done the libertarian thing a few times. It's like you're just saying fuck these guys, but then if you can't, like a two-party system is so easy to rig. I mean, but could you rig a five-party system? Could you rig, if you had 7 parties? Yeah. Could you rig that? I don't know. You know, and the thing is like you have the House and you have Congress. It's like the two-party thing is going to be so tough to untangle. You know, it would take some radically popular person who went independent.
Who tried? Legs Roosevelt.
Ross Perot.
Ross Perot, but
Ross Perot fucked it up for
everybody.
everybody.
He came close. But Teddy Roosevelt, he got real close.
Right, but that was a long time ago, and he was Teddy Roosevelt.
Yeah. But he won states, I think. I think he took out whole states.
That's crazy.
The Dixiecrats did it, but they were never going to pick up that many states.
It would have to be someone like that, someone that was like loved by a giant percentage of the population. Like if let's make up a fictional person, some
Oprah.
amazing Oprah. If Oprah becomes president or wants to run for president, and everybody's like, because you remember there was a thing during the Trump administration, the first administration, where I think NBC tweeted, "This is our president," and they showed a photo of Oprah. See if you can find that. I'm pretty sure that's true. And I remember thinking, like, this is so crazy that we're looking for another famous person to counteract the famous person.
They wanted The Rock.
Yeah. Oh, they talked to The Rock.
They came to The Rock?
They came to The Rock to try to get him to do it.
I mean, I don't know what The Rock's politics are.
He's, you know, a
Does
kind guy who's probably very left on certain things, but also very disciplined.
Yeah.
And obviously really admires and believes in hard work and dedication. He'll be a great president if he wanted to do it. Tweet on future Oprah presidency not meant to be political statement. Okay, what? They said on Monday that a tweet touting Oprah Winfrey as our future president during the 75 Golden Globe Awards was not meant to be a political statement. Of course it is.
Yeah.
You literally said president. That makes it political. Our in all capital letters. This is the only one that's capitalized.
I really thought it could have been Kanye for a while there.
Yeah, he could have made it.
His policies were, some of them were great. Some of them were genuinely good.
It's in reference to a joke made during the monologue and not meant to be a political statement. We have since removed the tweet. Oh, okay, so there was a joke, but it was still a political statement. Come on. Even if it was like in reference to the joke, you saying that in all caps, our president, it's still a political
They've got
statement.
to find somebody. I mean, just for the future of this. J.D. Vance can talk to people. I've seen long-form interviews with him where he actually seems like a normal human being.
I think there's a lot of people pushing James Tallarico now.
Okay.
And, you know, we had him on the podcast, too, to talk to him because I felt
He's
very
the Texas
interesting.
guy.
He's a Texas guy who has some really important things to say, particularly about the potential for a religious, like a theocracy in Texas, and that there's these very wealthy Christian fundamentalists that are driving this, like multi-billionaire guys that are driving this, and that's how the Ten Commandments got in schools. And he is a very religious man, and he does not believe the Ten Commandments should be in schools. He believes that if you put the Ten Commandments in schools, it's actually going to push people away from Christianity because you're shoving it in their face. And he's like, and it's also disrespectful to all the other religions. So you don't have their tenets and commandments.
Have you seen the Ten Commandments in the schools?
I have not.
We went out to look at some of the schools, and it's fun because they don't just put them up dryly on the wall. Like, they have pictures of all the things.
All the things you're doing, like sin?
Yeah, but this is weird when it comes to, like, don't covet your neighbor's wife, and there has to be, like, some weird little sexy picture or something.
Really?
Yeah.
Is she, like, bending over in the garden?
I think it was, like, a woman.
Oh.
Yeah, that was a strange one.
Well, how weird is that? They have to draw it. They're like,
I think
Americans
it was,
are too
it
stupid
was for
to
like
read.
language. It was
You
like,
got to draw it.
I think it was in like the Spanish class where they had it written in Spanish, the Ten Commandments.
Anyway, Tallarico is interesting. You know,
Yeah.
he had a very bizarre argument about abortion that I felt like that doesn't jive with how most people view Christianity.
What was his?
Well, he felt what did it exactly say that was like super controversial, Jamie? He said like somehow or another that you think that it could be biblically permissible.
I've heard this before. I've heard
Right.
people say that. I don't think it.
It
holds
doesn't
up.
seem to make sense if you really want to live your life biblically. It doesn't make sense.
But this is lefty Christians are always like
they have to find a
like
loophole.
people will go. There's nothing in the there's nothing in Scripture that says homosexuality is wrong, and you go like, yeah, okay, but like, what are you arguing that in like, 2 BC Jerusalem it was just chill to be a gay guy, and they just never wrote it down for some reason? Like, I'm not saying like as to however people want to live, that's fine, but don't like come in and say the religion insists that people be gay, or that like the trans thing is actually fine in the Bible because it never says you shouldn't be trans. It's like the absence of something in an old book that hadn't occurred to people is not an argument for its permissibility. Does that
but
make sense?
There is talk of a man lieth with a man being an abomination.
And then but then they go, that's about boys. It's not about men. We've got a very special translation that only we understand.
Is that what they say? Really?
Yeah. Yeah,
say it's about
say this is
boys?
always about boys. This is never about two men.
But it
together.
says man lie with another man.
Hey, I don't agree with them, but it's all the like. I think if you're going to have a religion, you should like not just try and twist the religion to be exactly what you think
Right.
it should be.
Right.
Like that's kind of the point of religion, is that it's something bigger and stranger than you that you're going to allow to, like, you're going to develop as a person with it rather than correcting it.
Well, I think if you look historically just in this country, the attitude that we had about gay people in this country was terrible, like in the 1930s and 40s and 50s. It was terrible.
Yeah.
Right? And then somewhere along the line, there's the gay rights movement, and then ultimately, in modern times, gay marriage. So there's this progression where people realize, like, hey, they're just gay. Like, it's always existed. But people had to hide it forever. Like, you know the Turing test story, right? Alan Turing, the guy who invented the
He
Turing
did
test.
as to whether the AI, you can tell if it's a person.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that guy was fed chemical
Chemically
castration
castrated.
drugs because he was gay in
Yeah.
England in the 1950s, right? So at some point in time, I think you have to like take into consideration like how long being gay was punished before people eventually just got to this realization, like you meet enough gay people, you know enough gay people, you have a gay kid, whatever, you realize like some people are just gay.
There are obviously people who are attracted to people of the same sex. and it's just-
100%.
Yeah.
That's all it is. And it's like you have to look at things through a cultural lens as much as you have to look at through a biblical lens. Like, because it's not all God's word. It's God's word written down by people. And some of it is just so
That's very
kooky.
Catholic of you.
Yeah, well, you
That's
have
the
to-
Catholic coming out.
Yeah,
from
you
the
have
youth.
to look at it that way. It's like there's just so much in it that doesn't make any sense.
There's context and there's tradition.
And there's
this
also
is what I like about it.
translations.
This is what I like about the Catholic. I became a Catholic like 8 years ago, 7, 9. It was a number of years ago. I'm forgetting how many years. But I had been like sort of nothing and then sort of a Unitarian. And then, but I like this thing of like,
What brought you from sort of nothing to belief?
I'd always believed there was something, but then I started going to mass because a friend was going. And when I was on the road years before, I would like be off on the road on a Sunday and have nothing to do. So I went to mega churches for fun because they were very funny and very strange. So like I
What are
went.
mega churches like in Australia?
We invented it. We got it going.
Really? You guys
Hillsong.
invented it?
Hillsong's you guys probably invented it, but we took it to another level. We did Hillsong.
What's Hillsong?
Hillsong was the biggest one by far. Justin Bieber was a Hillsong guy.
That's Australia?
That's Australian.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Australian and New Zealand guys, and they're like guitar music and the smoke machines, and they're doing this.
Oh, and you
the
guys
lights.
brought that over to America?
Yeah, I'm very sorry.
Wow.
I'm not a big, but I would turn up there, or a little Baptist church or something. But I would shop around and try, and, who's got something going on. But the mega churches offended me more than anything. It was like, whatever is happening here is weird and gross, and I don't like it. Like they would have two pastors come out and they'd like riff and banter together, And it was like a breakfast radio show.
Wow.
And they're going like, and they'd have like big projectors. And then I started going to I went to the Latin Mass, and it was like, oh, this is a very strange ancient ritual with like bells, and I don't understand what anyone is saying.
Right.
And I just wanted to keep going to that.
Ominous.
I love it. I love it. And
Weird.
the organ and the choir.
I think you made a really good point too about people coming in to this candlelit room and everything's beautiful and ornate, and just that alone probably has a profound effect on your psyche.
Yeah.
They must have known that, right? They must have known that when they're creating these incredible
A
cathedrals.
stained glass window?
Yeah.
You haven't looked at a picture or a television screen ever.
Right.
And then you go into a building where there is light shining out of a man's face.
And it's Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's statues
And
of
he's
him with
covered in blood.
Yeah, he's on the cross right in front of you with the thorns dripping blood, and
Yeah.
holy shit.
This is what I mean, though, about losing, where it's
Yeah.
okay with the AI. That's the Catholic thing. They always put him on there. He's always suffering.
Yeah,
And at the
suffer.
mega churches, they take him off. They go, it's a big plus sign out the front.
What?
Do you know what I mean? Like, at a Protestant church, they'll have a cross, but there's no one dying on that cross.
Oh.
It's just empty. It's just
It's only
like
the Catholics that have Jesus actually nailed
I
to
think
the
the
cross.
Orthodox do it as well, but like all the Protestant megachurch people, they never
Interesting.
show it
That's interesting.
because they're winners. They want to go like, we're increasing, we're getting more stuff, and I don't want to exaggerate, but prosperity gospel people.
Lenny Bruce had a great joke about that.
What was his?
He had a great joke about Jesus coming back and seeing you wearing a cross.
Hold on.
And
No,
he said it's like having an electric chair around your neck.
Was that
And
Lenny
then-
Bruce?
And then Bill Hicks had a version of it.
Yes.
Bill Hicks was like, it's like going up to Jackie with a rifle
Yeah.
pendant on.
We're thinking of him,
Yeah.
Jackie. I remember that
Supposedly
bit.
the oldest stained glass windows in the world, 7th century.
Yo.
That's what I'm about.
Germany, Bavaria.
Wow. They figured it out. They're like, we got to make this place more colorful, bring in more people. They didn't have pyrotechnics back then.
They've got
so
'em
they had
now.
to figure out a way to make it more. Because, like, if you see beautiful ancient cathedrals, like one of the things that I really loved about Italy is you could go to these ancient churches and
Yeah.
go and look around in them. And there's like amazing artwork, amazing, like just the craftsmanship of constructing these incredible buildings. When you go inside of them, it feels like something bigger than you has
Yeah.
created this. This is more beautiful and ornate than anything you ever see in your village. Your village is filled with like boring ass houses and like little fucking tables and little chairs and everyone's sitting around eating spaghetti. And then you go to this place, and this
Yeah.
place is insane. And there's candles, and,
And
you
the
take
smells
your hat
are weird.
off, and you do this, and,
Yeah.
and you put the money in the basket.
That's how I felt when I started showing up. That it was some weird alien. It feels like thousands of years old when they're doing it in Latin. And the priest isn't facing you, he's facing away, like you're all doing something together.
Right.
And it's mysterious.
Have you been to the Vatican?
Never.
Ooh, you should go.
I would like to.
You need to go. You should just see St. Peter's Basilica in the flesh. It's beyond comprehension. It took hundreds of years to make. The craftsmanship is so exquisite. It's like the artwork is so incredible. You walk, first of all, it's massive. I mean, massive and perfect. You walk around, you're like, what the fuck were you guys doing? Like, who made this?
Yeah, it's
like,
number
how
one.
long did this take?
That was Shane's reaction. Every time Shane's talking about it, he goes, yeah, we're number one.
We're number one, bro. Look
No
at,
one else can
pull
do it
up
like
some
that.
images of, it's just, like, look at what
Yeah,
it looks
the
like in
wobbly,
there.
the wobbly column.
God, it's so incredible, man. It's so incredible.
And then it shits me when, like, after Vatican II, I don't dismiss it. I don't say it was wrong, but when people, like a modern church, and it looks like there's a carpet and
Like
straight
that.
walls
But do
and
you know how much
no
time
art on there.
it takes?
That's love.
Do you know how much time it takes to make something like that? I mean, that is fantastic artwork. When you walk into that place, it's breathtaking. Like you walk in, you just go, wow. Look how small those people are. Look.
Yeah.
Look at the people. Those people are walking, dude. Look how tall that ceiling is. Look at the light
And
coming
like
down.
acoustically, you can the guy giving the homily and people can hear him.
Yeah.
Like it's built in such a way. Like people used to know something about acoustics where
Look
you
at
could.
that. Look
Yeah,
at that.
that is great.
I mean, that's so psychedelic. It really is. Just looking at the geometric patterns on the columns and the ceiling, it's like it makes you feel like you're tripping. So if you were there and you're like walk into this place and you lived in some boring ass house, you would really feel like you're in God's house. I mean, it feels like God's house when you're in
Yeah.
there. That's how good. That's how much they believed. They didn't cop out on this at all. They went all in.
This is why
that one right there. Look at that.
I don't like it when people go like the church should melt everything down and give it to the poor. Like this is a gift to the poor.
Yeah.
If you're poor, you get to go in there and look at that. That's open to everybody. They're not putting that in a private.
They should
cache.
never take that down. Whatever they did to do it, maybe they shouldn't do it again. Wherever they got that
It's a
gold.
better planet for having it there.
Well, I mean, the Vatican controlled armies for a long ass time, and it's nuts that it's its own country. That's weird.
Why was its own country?
So they can keep the pedophiles there.
No,
They don't have to export them.
they've tried so hard to crack down on the pedophiles.
Oh, good job, guys. It's just so crazy that one section of religion is commonly associated with pedophilia.
The press was real bad because the scandals were real and there were
Yeah.
lots of them. But I would say, I mean, when I talk to priests and I look at Catholic schools and what they've got in place at the moment, I would feel like they're so
On top of it.
on top of it. But there are definitely parts of society that in 5-10 years things will start coming
Listen,
out.
man, they catch pedophiles at Nickelodeon. You know,
Yeah.
they catch
But it's just
pedophiles
wherever
at the
you
CIA.
can go to get access.
There's pedophiles everywhere. There's a certain percentage of our society that's fucking sick, and they're sexually attracted to kids, and it's a sick, fucking horrible thing that's real, you know, and it exists all over the place. But the problem is it exists like synonymously with the Catholic Church. Like people think because they've hidden those people, they've shielded those people from prosecution. They've taken them and moved them to new places where they molest more kids.
I agree, but I would also say it's the only institution that it was early to declare that was wrong. Like before the Catholic Church, you had a pagan society where that was not. It was not
Where
questioned that
pedophilia
was acceptable.
Acceptable.
Like in terms of like it introduces the standard by which you can go. It's wrong to be a pedophile. It's wrong to have a boy lover because the Greeks and the Romans were getting up to it.
Oh, yeah.
It's not an excuse for people's behavior, but it's part of human nature that's been with us for a long time.
Well, I think
And
it was
that-
part of their nature also when they would go on army campaigns and there was no women for
Yes.
years at a time. They just fucked each other.
In the legs,
They fucked each other in the legs?
intercural. I got in
they
trouble.
would
I
squeeze
wouldn't
their
stop-
legs together
Yeah.
and then use their legs like a titty fuck?
Yes,
Nice.
because it was disrespectful to the soldier you were with to put it in his butt. He still has to fight the next day.
Oh, really?
You don't want him having a mobility issue
So they would just come in each other's legs?
in the legs.
That's not that bad. That's
I
just
mean,
helping out a bro.
Worse things happen on boats now. Let's see.
Well, they also had the concept that if you were fighting beside your lover, you would fight harder to protect them than just another man.
Yeah. I mean, we're not getting couples to join up to the military now, though.
Well, right now we're not because everyone's soft. But if we were at war, and you know how many guys
You
would
know,
go
draft
gay?
men and women.
You know how many guys would go gay if you gave them 3 years with no women at all?
You don't have to. You can just draft a married couple. You're in the same
Wild
battalion together.
Military men, hard as a rock all the time, filled with testosterone, running off to some part of the world to kill people.
Yeah.
No access to pussy for 3 years. It's not going to be 0% go gay. There's going to be a number.
I think numbers are huge. There was that test after World War II.
See how long it takes for you to go gay?
No, they did a huge, well, kind of, because everyone had just come back from being, for like 5 years together in the war.
Gaying it out.
And they ran a big, it was like a survey on sexuality and returned servicemen. Mm-hmm. And it was some huge number of like,
Gay guys.
it was not just gay guys, but it was also like bestiality was way bigger. Because a lot of these guys had grown up on farms and things. And so they're asking like, have you ever had sex with a chicken? And something like, I'm going to get the numbers wrong, but it's something like
100%?
12% of guys being like, yeah. Yes, of course.
Chicken. Oh,
I don't want to be getting that wrong, but I think
How many women fucked a chicken? 0. You know?
no. There's one lady in Thailand who's
got
still doing
paid.
it to this day.
She got
She's
paid to do
it's
it. It wasn't her
performative.
idea.
It's not out of love. She's
No.
not an amateur.
Yeah, it wasn't her idea. The guy that fucked the chicken, that was totally his idea.
This is
It's
a
like,
big
I
thing in
think-
your act.
look
This is
how
a
big
through line
that
in your
egg
act. Is that like you're always like men are the degenerate ones in these.
For sure. Well, that is a fact. That's a fact. I mean, we start all the wars. We're responsible for most of the murders.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, one of the funny ones I had a bit about back in the day, I actually had a conversation with this guy. He's like, do you know that statistically speaking, more men get raped than women? I'm like, right. By other men.
Yeah.
You fucking idiot. I'm like, they're not getting raped by cheerleaders.
Wait, is that true?
Yeah. Yeah, because when
Most
you,
rape victims are men.
yeah, when you take into account prison.
Oh, yeah.
See, you take into account, sexual assault in
Which is
prison.
just accepted in this
I guess it is.
It's like that's part of the punishment that everybody knows is going on in prison. No real efforts to stamp out.
Well, the
prison life.
crazy thing is woke got so far that they let males identify as females, intact males, and go into female prisons because they're air quotes trans,
Yeah.
which is the craziest loophole. Like you would never think of all the things they restrict you from doing in jail. You can't even have a phone, but you can go fuck girls and pretend you're a girl.
I mean, once you know that exists as a loophole, you'd be very silly not to take it.
Also,
Wouldn't you?
You're dealing with people that are fucking liars. They're prisoners. They're in prison. They're criminals. You're saying they rob banks and sell meth, but they wouldn't lie about their gender. That is an honorable
Has this
thing.
been stopped now?
No. In California, there's at the time that I read last, there was 47 biological males that are housed in women's prisons with hundreds on the waiting list.
But this is happening in.
It happens in Canada.
It's in
There's a lot
prisons.
of it in Canada.
I mean, schools is a weird one. Where like there are single-sex schools, and then they'll have a trans person, and they'll admit them, but like you can be a M to F, and they'll accept you into a girls' school. But also, if you're a girl at the girls' school and you say I'm a boy now, they'll keep you at the school. So like, just ideologically, which is it? Because if you are a single-sex school, then if a girl says, I'm transitioning to a boy, you should have to kick him out. You should say, we believe that you are a boy. Get out of here. You don't belong here. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think there's an intellectual consistency with any of this.
No.
It's just people going, this is making me uncomfortable. Please do not get angry at me.
Yes.
I'll give you whatever you want.
There's that. And then there's also people that really do feel like they're in the wrong body, right?
Yeah.
So those people have always existed. So the question is, what is that? And is it possible that someone would lie about that in order to gain access to the women's room? And that's true. That's a fact. So you always have to look at that. Like as soon as you say, oh, you have to believe them. Okay, you believe a murderer who's in jail and you're going to pay for his boob job now? Okay, and you're going to let him go into the women's prison? Because that's what's happening in Canada, right? They're doing that kind of shit.
Doesn't everyone feel like they're in the wrong... Like being instantiated in flesh is a weird thing. Like it's uncomfortable to have a body.
Yeah.
It aches. It doesn't do the things you tell it to do all the time. Like we're all alienated from our body, and there was an explanation for that for a long time. Like with the trans spike, that like this is what the thing that is wrong with you. This is why you're uncomfortable in your body.
Right.
But I think the numbers have collapsed in the last.
Well, you know
5
when they
years.
collapsed? It coincided with Elon buying Twitter.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah. The post 2024 numbers have dropped off a cliff.
When you stop offering that as an explanation.
Yeah, well, it's, you can not only that, but you could talk about it now.
Yeah.
Whereas before, if you wrote on Twitter that a male could never be a female, you'd be banned.
Yeah.
You would like that's what happened to Megan Murphy. They banned her. They banned her from Twitter by saying a man is never a woman.
Well, I remember they were banning people for saying what J.K. Rowling had said, but they're like, we can't get rid of J.K. Rowling because she's too big.
It
would be
it was completely insane because you should be able to talk about anything, and if you're wrong about that, like other people are going to correct you or have a better argument than you have, and that's how you figure out who's right and who's wrong. And for the longest time, there was no talk of detransitioners being upset. There was no talk of these things are actually chemical castration drugs they used to use on pedophiles. And that's what these things are. Rapists and pedophiles used to be forced to take these drugs that you're now giving to prepubescent boys.
Yeah. Also, the new penises are...
Oh, God.
I don't want to be sent any more of those.
Bro, the new penises
Shane was
and
sending
the
new penises
vaginas,
after talking to you. I've seen them.
both of them are it's genital mutilation.
Yeah.
And with a lot of them, that these people have these thoughts about being a girl or being a boy. Turns out they're just gay.
But but what? All right. Possible theory is that the ruling classes have always wanted eunuchs.
Oh, God.
Do you know what I mean? Like if you're an emperor of China.
Oh, you just put on the full tinfoil hat roll.
Yeah, this is my tinfoil hat moment
the
on
whole
this.
roll on your
Well,
head.
it's good to have a eunuch advising you because they're calm. We're talking about this before. The sex urge is gone, and they can just use
Right,
all
like
their
a
Nikolai
neutered
test
dog.
blood. Yes.
All dogs are trans.
Yes. And so are we? Is that the effort? Is that why you want to do it? Is that why we have?
Oh, God. I don't think
That's a
it's that.
long-term play that the ruling class are breeding a new eunuch class to advise them and help. Anyway, it's just a theory.
Well, I certainly think it's been accelerated by various special interests. and I think some of them are foreign. I think there's real evidence that China and other countries have pushed on social media like trans ideology.
Yeah.
And also like fought against anti-trans people and attacked them online. Like you see it, like these organized hate groups. And
Not in China though, only in
no,
America.
in America,
Yeah.
like doing it in America using different AI programs but LGBT issues are just one of the many things that they do that with. They do that with immigration. They do that with USAID. They try to disrupt our system by getting us to argue with each other, so they pose as us and argue, and say wild shit.
And some of that is being added now that on X you can see where people are from.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting, right?
It's
interesting. Not everybody looks at it, but when you do look at it, you go, "Oh, you're in Africa." This is kind of crazy.
You're a white nationalist account in China.
Yeah.
That seems counterintuitive.
Yeah, it seems weird. There's a lot of that. Yes, Renee DiResta did some research on that with the Internet Research Agency before the 2016 elections, when they were talking about how these foreign countries had these things that were set up that were just designed to put posts on Facebook and memes, and it was just designed to like sway the conversation towards a certain direction.
Yeah.
And she's like, and the funny thing, she saw like thousands and thousands of these memes. She's like, some of them are really funny. Like they're really funny made memes.
Who's making these?
Yeah, who's making these? They're being made in Russia or somewhere.
This is when I'm on the New York Times app, it feels like I know what their agenda is all the time.
You do.
And it's so nice to be like, oh, I know where that's coming from.
Yeah.
I know that when I'm on X, it's like there's a lot of reality coming at you at once. And then there's also definitely bots on there doing, and
It's too.
I feel overwhelmed. It is
It's too
much.
overwhelming. I try not to fuck with it anymore. Every time I go on there, I just feel bad. I just feel gross. All of them. All of them. I try to stay off them as much as possible. I feel better when I do. When I have like a day or two.
You're in a valuable position of just getting to talk to people who know what's going on. You get to talk to. I remember Christopher Hitchens saying, someone asked him like, "What newspapers do you read?" And he said, "None. I just talk to people who know things that I want to talk to, who I trust, who know things." You're a very well connected. Not everyone gets to. You can have a phone call with like an expert in something if you want.
That's true. That's a huge plus to doing this. But it's also you have to find out which expert is really honest.
Yeah.
You have two different experts. Like if you have some sort of a court case, well, the defense will have an expert, and then the prosecution has an expert too, and they disagree. So wait a minute. I thought it was all based on fact and logic and science. Like you guys are, whether it's DNA evidence or all kinds of evidence, there's like experts on both sides. So you're always going to have some kind of dispute. If you have if everybody just like completely agrees with one narrative, there's something probably going on. And generally speaking, what's going on is that they have control over that social media application, like Blue Sky.
Yeah.
Blue Sky is a perfect example. If you just go on Blue Sky and type, there's only two genders, banned, you're gone.
Yeah.
You're over. Like they don't fucking around.
Which is why that one is being allowed, I think, in Australia.
In Australia,
So we're
yeah.
banning X for the under 16s, but Blue Sky is fine.
Yeah, you're going to turn people into the most radical of progressives.
But they want
by default.
They're saying here are the facts that you can agree on, and then you can have your disagreement within that bubble, but you've got to exist within a shared reality.
Right.
I'm getting freaked out by the New York Times app, and I don't like it. Okay, but so they'll have ads in there, and this. They have ads for the New York Times in the New York Times app, right?
That doesn't seem smart.
They're saying you should buy a friend of yours the New York Times app. Okay, you should pay for them to have it, and then it's like, why should you do that? So you can so you can understand the news together, so you can share the world together,
Share a
right? They're like, isn't it terrible when someone has different facts to you? Let's all have the same facts so that
you're
we can know our children again. You should buy your children the New York Times app and bring them under the safe, warm umbrella. And it is when I'm on there, it's like being in a weird bath or something where it's like a protected zone. Well, I will be deleting it at some point. I enjoy doing the Wordle. But it's like I'm just getting a second of because I've been in Austin for like 2 years now, and most of my news has come through talking to Kurt Metzger in the green room or something. Do you know what I mean? And so I was like, just give me a taste of what like a normie out there is experiencing as reality.
Well, the problem is those normies get indoctrinated just as much as anybody else does. And so they get indoctrinated to thinking that the New York Times is the golden standard of accurate news reporting, and it's not biased, and this is the actual story that's going on. And no, that's not always the case.
I would say at least on the right, people are getting indoctrinated by like multiple different strange things. Like the actual agreement. You can have arguments and discussions about things, and people do. You've seen that like meme where it's like here's right-wing thought and it's all fucking over the place. And it's like here's the left-wing thing. It's like one dot.
And everything after that is Hitler.
Yeah.
Everything to the right of that is Hitler.
Yes.
Yeah, I've seen those. It's weird now that you're seeing all these right-wing people that are having public feuds.
It's blown up. It's been a big week.
What's happening? Like, why did everybody lose the plot? It's weird.
Charlie Kirk was holding something together, and now it's
You think
really.
so?
I think people are. I don't. I think he was.
Well, it seems
watched
like
some of it
from
this week.
his death out, there's a lot of chaos on the right. But is that because of his death? Why are all these people attacking each other? Or is it because, there's people out there that are saying wild shit and then other people are being forced to defend them, whether it's Candace Owens or whoever it is?
I think the conservative movement was always a weird bringing together of about three different things.
What are those things?
Like foreign policy hawks, social conservatives, and big business people. Mm-hmm. And William F. Buckley Jr., is that his name? We're getting that right? But like the National Review, he managed to purge all the John Birch Society people and say this is mainline conservatism going forward. And then Reagan was able to like dovetail him with that. And there was like there was a coming together of two people who didn't make a lot of sense for like a religious conservative and a big city finance guy to share a platform together. But under that project, you could bring them together. And that it breaks apart. And you can see it now. Like there are a couple of things really breaking up. Like where is the right fracturing in Arizona at the moment? It's like Israel is a fault line. There's no holding together the two wings of the conservative movement under Israel anymore. Is there? Like the Tucker Carlson wing of that discussion and the Ben Shapiro wing don't seem to be able to harmoniously go in lockstep.
No, they hate each other.
They really hate each other. There's a conspiratorial wing and there's like a big business wing that don't want to get along. There's libertarians and there's conservatives, and they match up on a couple things, but not a lot of things. In terms of like, what is a family? What are our values going forward? What should we have religious values in the law? A lot of people on the right would say yes. A lot of people on the right would say that's never, no. So unless there's like a unifying, like, I don't want to say strong man, but like unless there's a unifying figure to bring those two disparate groups together, I think their natural thing is to fight with each other. And that's what's happening now, is that it's the end of the Trump era. He's not going to run again. Mm-hmm. He managed to build some sort of coalition around himself. And that's, I think, Mr. Kirk's widow, whose name I don't remember, who had the gold outfit. Erica Kirk.
Yeah.
Who I don't watch a lot of the speeches because I get all secondhand, but she's going like, we need to get behind J.D. Vance. He's going to be the future of holding this together. And he's trying to really stay out of it so that he's not making a call one way or the other. He's trying to allow the two parties to
duke it out, see who rises.
I guess he'll see who wins.
Boy. Well, that's the thing. It's like someone has got to win, right? Like something's going to or they're just going to just like diffuse the whole right-wing movement by being constantly at war with each other where there's no consension.
Yeah, and this happens on the left as well. Like the left, like the AOC people and the Nancy Pelosi people are not natural bedfellows.
Like what do they have? What's the consensus? Like what do they agree on? They agree on immigration. They all agree on immigration, right?
Kinda. I mean,
Don't you think?
big business people want heaps of illegal immigration.
Oh,
because it's cheap labor.
But the big business people, that is true. There's some CEOs that have openly discussed the fact that they need that in order for their business model to work.
Yeah, you've got like the Pat Buchanan wing of the party going up against the like H.W. Bush wing of the party. So I don't even think they can get around that.
Most people would say that having an open border, most people on the right would say having an open border is a real problem. You need to close the border. Like if you were a right-wing person, you ran on, let's open up the border again. We need illegal immigrants. We need the labor.
Yeah.
It would be over. You would never win. Yeah. You would never win.
You could govern that way. And I think people did for a long time. But you could never have that as your public position.
Right. You could let them sneak in, let it slip.
Well, like Biden was always saying, we're tough on the border. And then you go, but these numbers are very
Yeah,
galling.
You definitely weren't. He wasn't tough on shit. But I also think he wasn't running anything either. You know, I mean,
It's hard to
imagine. Hard to imagine.
yeah.
Yeah, no way. So whoever was running it wanted to keep running it, and that was a real problem. That was a real problem. That's scary because then you realize, even though it's crazy to have a president, at least the ideas you voted a president in. But if the president doesn't do anything and it's really a bunch of, like, as nutty as Trump is, at least you know he's doing it. Like, nobody else is going to put gold all over the White House. You know, he's
Yeah.
doing that. Nobody
He's
else
writing
is going
those
to do
plaques.
that. 100%.
For sure.
He did the auto pen thing. At the very least, you know it's him doing it.
Yeah.
And you hate him, you love him, whatever.
I think he wrote that Rob Reiner tweet. I don't think anyone was in his
Oh,
ear
he wrote
going,
that. Yeah, he
I
wrote
think
that.
I think you should take a big stand against Rob Reiner today.
No, he wrote that. He wrote that.
But as to where the
and
right will go.
It was Brennan and Clapper. Those are the people that had the video with Rob Reiner, where he's like literally talking to two spooks about how it's a real problem that Trump is the president
He
and he's a
started up
criminal.
something called the Committee for Russian Investigation or something like that. Rob Reiner did.
So
no one
he's-
apologizes for the Russia stuff.
No, it's crazy what they did.
The
And
COVID stuff, no one apologizes for.
no, they completely lied. As much as you can hate him about a lot of things that Trump has done, you can't just let people get away with making a fake story about him colluding with Russia. Like, that's a fake story. The Steele dossier was literally all that stuff was funded by the Clinton campaign. It's crazy.
Yeah. And the Epstein stuff coming out now is, I mean, we'll see what happens with that. But
Well, you guys were talking right before the podcast. Jamie said there was a big dump. What happened with the big dump?
Big dump.
You said there was a big dump today and they fucked up? That was your take. They fucked up?
The fuck up was that people have found out that the redactions weren't really redacted.
Dun, dun, dun.
It's like that's a big mistake. Like you can copy and paste and put it in another document and see the redactions.
Oh, like a Photoshop deal?
Yeah.
Like you could get the layers away?
yeah.
yeah.
Oh, whoopsies. That's what happens. You get fucking people working for the government that are dorks.
Then, which is like this is like
That's a
steps
big
to
deal.
this. If you're,
Yeah.
I wasn't following it all, but the Department of Justice has tweeted a couple interesting things today. Starting with this one 8 hours ago, so it's like 6 a.m. or something.
Department of Justice has officially released nearly 30,000 more pages of documents related to Jeffrey Epstein. Some of these documents contain untrue and sensationalist claims made against President Trump that were submitted to the FBI right before the 2020 election. To be clear, the claims are unfounded and false, and if they had a shred of credibility, they certainly would have been weaponized against President Trump already. Nevertheless, out of our commitment to the law and transparency, the DOJ is releasing these documents with the legally required protections for Epstein's victims.
Some of those documents have been deleted now.
Okay, so they're saying that 30,000 more pages of documents, and some of them contain untrue and sensational claims made against President Trump that were submitted to the FBI right before the 2020 election, right? But by who?
That's people are just sort of taking it as a grain of salt, saying like, "What?" So nobody else. It's all
It's only Trump.
untrue about Trump.
Right.
Nothing. Nobody else. Yeah.
All the Bill Clinton photos were definitely
The other
him
one
with,
was
come
this
on.
picture came out of a letter that seems to be a potential suicide note written by Epstein, written to Larry Nasser. The facts of that were strange. There's a postmark, which is 3 or 4 days after he died.
Wait a minute. Larry Nasser.
Yeah, he was also in jail.
He's the Olympic guy?
Yeah.
The doctor that
Yeah,
was a
so it's-
pedophile?
Yeah, and it's like a letter writing like, "Hey, I know what you know why I'm in jail. I know why you're in jail."
Boy. That
Yeah.
seems weird that he's writing a letter
He
to
says
a
he's taking the
pedophile.
short
Yeah,
route.
and like that
Yeah.
starts off saying, "If you've gotten this, you know I took the in quotes short route out," which
Short route home, right?
yeah. But there's some weird detail. People are like they said, they're saying this is fake or maybe fake.
Did they
just
get a
tweeted this
handwriting
30 minutes
expert
ago.
to analyze it yet?
Appearing doesn't. That's. I started asking the questions like, well, then why? Why did it come out? How are you know?
Oh, so the FBI, it says the FBI has confirmed this alleged letter from Jeffrey Epstein to Larry Nasser is fake. Fake in all caps. Trump wrote that. The fake, he gets busted by the use
fake
of all
letter.
caps. Fake letter was received by the jail and flagged for the FBI at the time. The FBI made this conclusion based on the following facts. The writing does not appear to match Jeffrey Epstein's. The letter was postmarked 3 days after Epstein's death out of Northern Virginia when he was jailed in New York. The return address did not list the jail where Epstein was held and did not include his inmate number, which is required for outgoing mail. The fake letter serves as a reminder that just because a document is released by the Department of Justice does not make the allegations or claims within the document factual. Nevertheless, the DOJ will continue to release all material required by law. Well, this is how they probably should have done it from the beginning, right? Release all material.
Yeah.
And then refute whatever you say is fake. And you say, okay, it didn't have his inmate number. It's not his handwriting. It's fake. It was 3 days after his death. It was postmarked from Virginia. He was in New York.
But don't make it look
fake.
like you're covering it up. Just
Right. Release it
Although
and
I
say
will
it's
say,
fake.
I have seen on Twitter people complaining about like they're not meant to censor anything due to embarrassment. But when it's like Ghislaine Maxwell's boobs, they will censor it out. And people go, this has been illegally censored. You must,
Yeah,
by
I
the
need
law
to
of the United States, show me her boobs.
I need to see them areolas.
Is she? She's in prison in Texas.
She's in, you can kind of call it prison. She does yoga, plays cards, hangs out.
Is she allowed to talk to people?
I don't think so. She's not allowed to podcast, I'm sure, if that's what you're getting at.
I am. Yeah. That would be a really exciting podcast.
If everybody wants to die, that would be a really good podcast.
I think she's just a nice, normal lady.
Do you think Trump, on the way out, pardons her?
She's a nice woman. I wish her well. I don't know. It's
The weird thing is she's in jail for sex trafficking to who?
Epstein.
Right.
No, but was
To
it for
him?
that?
Yeah. From him?
I think it was 16-year-olds
Just to him?
in Florida, and it was directly to him. I was
Right.
briefly, I experimented with being like a non-Epstein believer.
Really?
Yeah, for about 2 weeks.
What
I
did
thought,
you think was going on?
I was like, maybe he's just a pervert who liked getting back rubs from 16-year-olds, and he had famous friends. Because everyone was like, he's Mossad, he's CIA.
What do you think now?
Yeah, he's obviously something. It's way. I just thought everyone in the green room was saying he's Mossad. I was like, I could be. Maybe the controversial thing would be to not believe there's a
Take the
conspiracy.
contrarian position.
I just wanted to experiment with the contrarian position, and it's getting harder and harder to hold that.
Yeah, it
together.
seems like the more they dig into his past, the more it feels like he was part of some sort of intelligence agency.
Or like channeling offshore money for people.
How about the fact that he just got a slap on the wrist during the first case when he caught a case, and then whoever it was the prosecutor or the judge, was told that he was intelligence.
There was and then someone. I listened to a podcast on it from like from Matthew Schmitz, who's Compact magazine, and they were making out that it was an anti-Semitic plot to say that Epstein was secret intelligence, and it's genuinely, although I don't agree with them, it was one of the best put together podcasts I'd heard. And
Look at this. Suicide Watch observation log. 2:15 a.m. Inmate states his cellmate tried to kill him.
Inmate sitting on bed trying
He
to
later
remember.
retracted it, saying he has no idea what happened, but there's pictures of him showing his wounds and stuff. I think he also said he woke up and didn't know where those wounds came from.
Oh, so that's the guy too, by the
Yeah.
way. You know that. That's
There's
the
some
cellmate,
pictures of his
the
wounds.
giant dude. Oh, so the cellmate beat the fuck out of him. I don't see any wounds.
Oh.
Where's the wounds? New release documentary.
That looks sad.
Semi-conscious with neck injuries.
He had marks around his wrists.
Let me
I think
see.
it is. Well, I mean,
Let me see his neck.
you
See,
can't really tell.
click
It's
it.
not a good picture.
What's a video?
Oh, okay, it's a video.
His picture, his hands were swollen. I think it said his ankles or feet were swollen too.
Oh, so the guy tried to grab his neck and choke him.
But they said they investigated. They didn't find anything.
Found no evidence of foul play. I didn't do nothing. He says he didn't do nothing. I don't know what to tell you. You're okay. Get back in jail, you pedophile. That's probably what they did. But the guy probably tried to kill him. I mean, it looks like a guy that would try to kill you, and he was definitely a murderer.
Yeah, if you're in a jail cell with a pedophile, I don't think that's unusual to try and kill that guy.
Also, you're a big giant guy who's in jail for murdering 4 drug dealers, and you're a cop. Like,
I don't know.
I was always saying that you could get him to kill that guy for like a pack of cigarettes.
If
That
you're in
guy's gonna
jail
be
for
in jail
life.
for the rest of his life,
Yeah.
forever, for sure. And you can give him like awesome special treatment if you wax Jeffrey Epstein.
Man, I was really trying. I tried so hard. I went on podcasts trying to say he
Did
wasn't.
you?
Yeah. I wish I hadn't. I just thought it was a cool like bucking back against the grain thing to say. And I was saying he was charismatic.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't famous people want to hang out with this charismatic
Good
man?
point.
That photo where he's with Michael Jackson, his loafers are incredible. He had a great sense of style.
Right.
But I do, and then there's things about him discussing with, he's talking to ex-prime ministers of Israel about how to move money around or something. Yeah. It's
The
not
former
good.
prime minister of Israel used to visit him in his Manhattan place with like a mask over his face. He'd like pull his fucking, had like one of these things on. You ever see?
No.
Yeah. See,
But
they
he
have
was-
pictures of him trying to cover his face as he goes into Epstein's house, which is what I always do when I go to my friend's house.
You cover your face?
Yeah, you don't want anybody knowing. You go to the Ring doorbell.
There's apparently
fucking
more
Nixon mask on.
more Prince Andrew ones now.
Oh, of course.
And he's
Well, there's a reason why they literally kicked him out of the royal family. They banished him to a mansion somewhere in the hills.
I don't think he'd been. Yeah, it's not good.
Not good.
It hurts my regard for the beautiful royal family, who
Yeah.
I love very much.
I bet you do. You like a good royal family.
I love a
Look at
royal
him.
family.
Look at that dude.
Yeah. Well, he's dodging the paparazzi.
Oh, for sure. Paparazzi are always in front of a financial guy's house. Bunch of chicks leaving.
A lot of people seem to love hanging out with this guy, a
a lot of fun.
charismatic guy.
Bet he's a lot of fun. Had cool people at his parties.
I mean, it was Woody Allen he was hanging
Yeah.
out.
Bill Clinton.
Bill Clinton seems to have a great time in all the photos.
There's a lot of people seem like having a great time. Michael Jackson was hanging out there.
Michael Jackson didn't look like he was having a lot of fun, though.
Well, I don't think he had a lot of fun, period. Right? Pretty
Michael?
tortured individual.
He had a roller coaster. How could he be unhappy?
I don't think that was for him. That roller coaster was like
I still know
when you
Michael
put up
Jackson
a turkey when you go
truthers.
turkey hunting. You put up a fake turkey.
No.
Bring in the turkeys.
His father made him dance too much, and that's why he wanted to
Mm.
spend the night with boys. I can't defend Michael Jackson.
No, you can't.
No, it's
Who
increasingly
can you defend easier, Michael Jackson or Epstein?
Well, we don't have any. Yeah, I mean, probably Michael Jackson because the music was great.
The music was great, and his doctor said he was chemically castrated. You know that?
I don't.
Yeah,
But
the doctor that went to jail for giving him propofol that wound up killing him.
the general anesthetic.
Yes.
Yeah.
That doctor, when he got out of jail, spoke publicly about the fact that Michael, when he was young, was giving chemical castration drugs to protect his voice, to keep his voice from deepening.
I'm on the record saying that castrati should be brought back.
You think so? You're on the record?
Yeah. No, over and over again. I said if we're going to have trans people,
Make him sing?
you get it regarding how well you can sing.
But you got to do it when
Well,
you're really young. Like,
It's
they
got to
have
be
do
before
it-
puberty.
Yeah.
I don't really believe it, but I do want to hear the castrati again. We've got one recording and it's not very good.
Weird.
Have you heard it?
It's eerie. Yeah, we played it on this
wobbly.
podcast a bunch of times.
Yeah.
It's kind of macabre.
But people loved it at the time.
They were sick
The
people.
and only the Italians. Because the Italians were bold. And they,
What a crazy move.
what?
Cut your
Castrated
son's
boy?
balls off when he's young so he could sing at a high pitch forever.
Well, I think they would crush them because they didn't have antiseptic. I think cut them off is.
What'd they do? They crushed their balls?
I think they'd crush them and then put them in a bath of milk. But do you know about
Crush
this?
them
Do you know
with
about the
what?
swan thing?
What'd they do to crush the balls? What'd they use? They just smash them?
But it was
Look
illegal.
at that thing you did with your hands. That was terrible.
It's not good. But they would deny it. The families would never cop to it because it was illegal to castrate your son.
Oh.
So you would come up with an excuse. And there's like one town in Italy where over the course of a year they reported hundreds of swan attacks. That's what they would say.
Oh,
They would say a
God.
swan
Attacked
flew
your
into my
nuts.
son's testicles.
Oh,
and that's why he's now the best singer in Milan.
And they did it so their son could make money, just like a theater mom.
But the people loved it. Like when there was the last one and they were going to retire it, people were crowds screamed, "Long live the knife!" They wanted it to keep going. Do you know about this?
Long live the knife.
Yeah,
the,
there was
the,
like
the nut cutting knife.
widespread popular support not to get rid of the castrati.
Oh my God!
People wanted to keep
really?
hearing it,
Bro, that's terrible.
but they must have sounded really good.
Well, we heard the recording. You want to hear it? Should we
Apparently, he
leave
was
on the
no good.
recording.
Apparently, he
He
was
sucked?
one of the worst ones.
Many of these operations were performed by local barbers.
Oh, the razor.
I guess I did use the razor
Sliced your
sometimes.
nuts
No,
off
yeah,
with
they said
the
this was an
razor.
operation.
I should have
a
guessed
lot
you
of
were
times.
across the castrati.
Plucked them out.
I could have
like-
guessed that would have come up on this show before. I didn't know you'd played it a bunch
Oh
of
yeah,
times.
we played it before. We'll leave on this. We'll play
Oh,
it.
you want? I don't know. If
Can we play it?
I can't. This is one of those videos. It could have.
Yeah, somebody might have owned it.
I got into an argument about it because I put it on a video once and I got challenged and I challenged it back because it was recorded so long ago.
Oh yeah, it should be in the open.
Do you know what I mean?
That's true.
There's a Wikipedia recording that's totally open. No, I'm across it.
Yeah, we don't want to deal with it though.
How come no rappers are sampling the castrati? Danny Brown.
Maybe Diddy when he
Hit
gets
me
out.
up.
Maybe you could.
I'm not even going to try and be a Diddy defender. I thought about it.
You're such a contrarian. You do think about it.
Yeah. It would be nice. I just don't have enough time to research it properly. But if I had all the time, and if I didn't have kids, I would be spending all my time becoming the best Epstein defender because it would be a cool thing to say at parties very stridently. Wouldn't it? You'd be like,
That's such an Australian thing to think. What do you got here?
It's just a quick I mean, they really sum this up fast.
Time roughly beginning the 17th century, the mid-19th century, an era where the science of anesthesiation still had some way to go. And here we go. Before making the first cut, a surgeon would send a patient into a semi-comatose state by plying him with an opium-based drink and compressing his carotid arteries.
oh, that's the milk.
Then the boy would be plunged into a bath of milk or hot water to soften the necessary parts, at which point speed was of the essence. Cut the spermatic cords, remove the testicles, tie the ducts, and then fingers crossed. Oh, God. Oh, God.
But what is it about the Italians that were the only people to do it?
Why are you fucking with my people?
I know, I'm saying it's kind of a greatness of spirit.
No.
To go, that's how much you loved music.
It's disgusting.
Other people were trying to take over the world and build empires, not in Italy. That's what you were doing in the 17th
They just
century.
didn't know that AI could just fake it. We could make an AI castrata. Maybe we should close on that. Let's have AI do a castrata.
I reject
of
it. I reject AI castrato. I
Papa
want the
was a
real
Rolling
thing.
Stone.
Can you do that?
Yeah. Let's do, have AI make a cover of Papa Was a Rolling Stone as an opera castrata. Or castrato. Is it castrato or castrata?
I think it's castrati is the plural.
Castrati, right. But is it a
Castrato.
castrato?
I think it's
But is it still a boy if you cut his nuts off?
Well, you'll get in a lot of trouble in Britain for saying the opposite, but yes. The ladies loved them.
God.
And they got
Ladies
big and
love them.
tall.
They can never get hard.
No, they could.
Really?
Yeah.
How do you know?
I read a lot about it. Like,
Maybe they lied.
they would have sex. No, women would like go and try and have sex with them
But they...
because
how'd
they couldn't
get
get
a-
pregnant off the back of that.
But how'd they get a boner if they didn't
I think it
have
like
testicles?
there was still testosterone in the body.
Like a tiny amount produced by the...
They got real tall
pituitary
though.
gland.
They got huge. They would be
Yeah.
like 7 foot tall.
Really?
And this is why they could sing so well. Is their bones in their rib cage wouldn't fuse. Like there's something in puberty that's meant to come in and like stop your bones growing. That happens when you're a child. So they'd have like this huge rib cage with huge lungs
wow. And then
a
a
tiny
high-pitched
little boy
voice.
voice. Yeah, but like huge amounts of air flowing out.
Oh, that's crazy.
I'm just saying, why can't we? If we're gonna have all the trans kids, doesn't one of them go? I identify as a castrati. Couldn't one do it?
Maybe you're planting the seed in someone's head right now.
I don't want to do
their
that.
calling.
I don't want to do that.
Well, maybe they already went through with the other thing, and they're like, "Well, let's make the most of this." You know, let's
Yeah.
make some lemonade.
Castrated doing. Have you got? Can you really just type it in and make a?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
the
How long does it take to render
problem is the lyrics.
the lyrics?
Those lyrics are copyrighted.
You could have a song.
Oh, we can't play it.
You could
'cause
do
it's-
Star Spangled
It
Banner.
won't make this. That's the whole
Oh.
issue on how you make these songs. I don't want to get into.
How are they doing that?
I
You
don't-
don't want to say it?
that's not-
Okay.
yeah.
All right, let's wrap this
Is it
up.
a secret?
McCann, we're going to miss you. You'll be back.
I
Thank
think
you
I
for
just
having me.
got one. Hold on a second.
Oh,
You got one? Oh, here we go.
All right.
Here we go.
it
Yeah,
sounded
it's not
wired.
quite eerie enough. That sounds like a regular
No,
guy.
when you hear that one guy,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it is
Try
otherworldly.
harder.
It's creepy.
All right.
It's creepy. All
They
right.
Make good songs.
McCann, I love you.
Thank you
buddy.
for having me. I really appreciate it.
It's always fun hanging out with you, and I'm excited about tonight. We're gonna have some fun.
I think so.
Yes, sir. Okay. See you in a bit.
All right.
Bye, everybody.